Arindam, let's start.
Yes. Stop sharing.
Just 1 second. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of SIAD, I, Arindam Ray, the Program Director of SIAD, welcome all of you to the last day of International Virtual Conference of Paradigm Shift in Education and Entrepreneurship in the context of Atmanirbhar Bharat, organized by SIAD. Today first, I would request to Mr. Bishwajit Roy Choudhury, the main person of this conference, to say some words.
Thank you, Arindam. Good morning to all of you, all the resource persons on behalf of SIAD. Nobody here is the main person, but everybody here is the main person because on behalf of SIAD, I heartily thank you and congratulate to all the resource persons, especially our honorable resource speakers, Mr. Shishir Bajoria, Honorable Chairman IIM Shillong and renowned industrialist, Dr. Lalit Kumar Joshi from Kazi Nazrul University, Professor S.K. Somani sir, Vice Chancellor of Medicaps University, Dr. Chris, CEO from Global Opportunities and Commercialization from Australia, and also the other delegates who will join, Dr. Gyanendra Sengupta, Chairman of Gurukul EduTech and Research Foundation, as well as Dr. Shivaji Banerjee from St. Xavier's University College. So, and Dr. Malavika Raut from Amity University. So on behalf of SIAD, once again, I would like to give a special thanks to all of you for joining with us. In these 2 days event, this is the second and the last day of this webinar. The theme which we kept for the paradigm shift in education, we know that this is the meantime where we are going to a phase of changing ceremony. And one side, this is the corona effect. One side, this is the lockdown and economic destruction, as well as the different opportunities, particularly for the Indian scenario, like the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, skill development sectors are more going prominent. In that case, entrepreneurship development sector, the government of India has taken lots of initiatives to develop their skill development sectors and entrepreneurship development sector, as well as along with that, they have developed another model, which is very timely needed model, that is the new education policy, where all the blendings are there, all the mixtures are there, and all the flavors are there. So if the country, whenever the country will continuously import this new education policy, I hope the entrepreneurship, the skill development, the global perspective of our students will grow and grow in their future. So it is an opportunity. Mostly COVID is an opportunity for which we will see lots of. So today's program, the theme of this webinar is mostly focusing on that particular theme and particular concept also. And yesterday, Swamiji, Vice Chancellor of Ramakrishna Vivekananda University, Swami Atmapriya Nandaji, Dr. Krish, also the Professor Muhammad Ali from Vice Chancellor of Alia University has already focused on that particular issues. And I hope the speakers which we join today, they will also enlighten us through their valuable lectures. So with this, I welcome to all of you once again, all the participants and the team of SIAD in this regard. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy Choudhury. Now, I would invite Dr. Lalit Kumar Joshi to chair this session. Presently, he is associated as a founder coordinator of Center of Entrepreneur and Skill Development Department of Kazi Nazrul University. He has over 10 years of teaching experience at undergraduate and 7 years of teaching experience at postgraduate level, respectively. Dr. Joshi is a gold medalist in MCOM examination in the year 2008 and awarded the PhD degree in 2017 from Vidyasagar University in the area of corporate finance. He has completed his MBA degree with specialization in financial management from IGNOU. We are extremely privileged to have him with us. Dr. Lalit Kumar Joshi, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. And I am deeply indebted to the South Asian Institute for Advanced Research and Development, who have invited me to chair a session on the second day of the 2 days international virtual conference on paradigm shift in the education and entrepreneurship in the context of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Before over the session to the honorable and learned speakers who are at the different helms of affairs, those who are, some of them are renowned industrialists holding different chairs in the academic and industrial positions. Uh, I just want to say a certain aspect which I feel that it is while a common experience that the life won't be as simple in the post-COVID era as we are having at present. The effect of pandemic are expected to have a long-lasting impact on every sphere of the activities across the economy. Even various nations are trying to revive their economies and protect their livelihood. Atmanirbhar Bharat or Abhiyan, which has been called on as a clarion call of the Honorable Prime Minister of the country, is just to propel the country on the path of self-subsistence. At the same time, Atmanirbhar Bharat is not meant to promote protectionism or isolationism by erecting the trade barriers. Rather, it seeks to make the Indian economy robust in the long run by scaling up manufacturing, accelerating infrastructure development, attracting investment, promoting consumption-led growth. And we know that the India, being the largest democratic country in the world, having a 65% of its population below 35 years of age, and almost 50% of the population is below 25 years of age. So youth of this country is the major workforce which can lead us towards a growth. And the fact is that the Indians are heading several MNCs across the globe. So there is quite evident and it is quite proven that the Indian MNC, Indian nationals, there is no dearth of knowledge. We have a sufficient knowledge base for this economy. However, the need of the hour is to upgrade the skill and upskill the youth to meet the employment needs of the technological driven 21st century and accelerate the pace of growth in towards self-reliance. Before I move, I would like to introduce Mr. Shishir Bajoria, who is the chairman, Indian Institute of Management, Salon, and he's a renowned industrialist. Today we will be having a lot many wonderful lectures, but before we move, we have a special lecture from Mr. Sushil Bajoria, Chairman, IIM Shillong, and the renowned industries of the country. I request you, sir, to deliver your kind address.
Suprabhat. Good morning to all.
Suprabhat, sir.
Mr. Chairman of today's session, Professor Joshi, my dear friend Vishwajit Babu, other renowned speakers in today's program, today being the concluding day of the two-day program. I see that we have Her Excellency, the Education Minister and Religious Affairs Minister from Greece. Then I see this is a personal bias. I have to talk about this bias. Dr. Shivaji Banerjee from St. Xavier's College. For your information, I'm a Xaverian from school and college. So moment I see another Xaverian, a teacher or a student, there is an immediate bias which develops. Professor Somani. There's a huge list of people. Please pardon me if I don't recognize everyone, but very eminent people today. Thank you for calling me and inviting me to speak on entrepreneurship, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and I will also touch the NEP 2020. Before I get into the subject, one has to talk about the pandemic that the world is going through. Something which we have not seen, heard, or read in living memory. I will permit me to stick to crores because I guess most people will understand that. The world has already got 3.25 crore people infected. Unfortunate of them were about nearly 10 lakhs who didn't make it. They perished. But already 2.25 crores, 70% have recovered and are back home. In India, though 58 lakh people have been infected so far, but we have been very fortunate. And of course, it's just not fortune, as they say, fortune favors the brave. A lot of things have been done, which results in our death rate being nearly half of the world. We had, unfortunately, 92,000 people did die, but which is 1.59% of those infected compared to 3% of the world average. And our recovery rate, 47.5 lakh people have gone home, recovered, which is 81.7% compared to 70% of the world. There's a reason why I talked about it. We all see this every day, every media says this, but there's a reason why I started my talk with you on this line. Few things which contributed to this. Of course, our youth, our age profile does contribute. But more than that, the very harsh lockdown which we implemented, our government led by our Prime Minister, I would say it was his foresight, that the very, very strict lockdown in the days when there was practically no cases in India. April, June quarter, out of the 90 days, 70 days were in lockdown. The country was in lockdown. The country took a huge beating economically, but it was a conscious decision of the Prime Minister that it's first life, then livelihood. Jaan hai to jahan hai. If there's life, there'll be livelihood. This resulted in our GDP plummeting by 23.5%. And it was all over what has happened to India. But this was a conscious decision, ladies and gentlemen. Next figures I'll tell you will show how things turned. While the GST dropped to 32,000 crore in April as compared to 1,14,000 crore a year before, but started rising to 62,000 crores in May and touched 91,000 crore in June, which was just 9% below June 2019. Once the opening up phase, the unlock phase started, steel achieved the highest ever sales of 14.3 lakh metric tons, 35% higher than previous year. Cement reached 26.3 million tons, which was at par with July, December before the pandemic. Automobiles, which went to near zero in April, May, and negligible in June, bounced back in July, August. In July, passenger car sales touched 75% and two-wheelers 63% as compared to the previous year. But look at the tractors, 140% of the previous year, which immediately takes you to fertilizers, because tractors, fertilizers, they're all farm products for farm. 40% sales went up. All fertilizer plants are sold out. Malls, which were very badly hit, most understandably badly hit, green shoots are now visible, footfalls are rising. But on the negative side, which is something which we have to recognize, the hospitality sector continues to be hit. But that's the nature of the beast, COVID. Now, in this, the Prime Minister gave the call, the clarion call of Atmanirbhar Bharat, and with it, vocal for local. Does it mean that India will become a closed economy? If you put the two together, many critics say, so you will now close down. No, not at all. It's not about closing down. We will continue to walk on the path of our basic philosophy, our Mool Mantra, Vasudev Kutumbakam, the world is my family. And we have demonstrated this during the pandemic by exporting hydrochloroquine to 150 countries. To many countries, this was gratis. That is our commitment to the world. It was very clear that if these tablets were to be made available to the world, there was only one country. And our country, we took the world as our family, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Coming to Atmanirbhar Bharat, a lot of our critics, even international media within our country, what is this Atmanirbhar? What are you talking about? You have this deficiency, that deficiency, and you talk about Atmanirbhar, self-reliant. There is a background to it. All these years, we were taught not to rely on ourselves. We were always looking at somebody else who will come and bail us out. And this was not just the country. This feeling seeped into each one of us. Koi to aake haath pakadega. If I need something, I will look at somebody else for help. Why would I not look at myself? Am I not capable? So if each person starts standing on his own feet and not depending on somebody to provide crutches, your neighborhood will be sufficient, self-sufficient. Your city, your state, and your country will be self-sufficient. See, here education also played a role in making a person feel that you are not self-sufficient. And I will come to that when I touch on education. I'm a firm believer. If you want to subdue a person, and with that subdue a country, first say, Bechara, poor fellow. What can he do? He needs our help. We have to help him. And you educate that person and you drill it into him. Look, you need help. Without help, you are nobody. You will not survive. And I'm here to help you. So I will always be the giver like this, the data, and you will be the recipient with your hands in front. You inculcate this in people's mind, they are finished. And then you will ensure that they remain with you always. But this call of Atmanirbharta, self-reliant, means what? Do not depend on me, the government. Stand on your own feet. Because you are capable of standing on your feet, I will just help you to stand. I will provide the environment. You stand, but it will be you standing on your feet, not with my dole. This culture of dole is what ate up a big part of our country. Look at our states where the culture was, unfortunately, I have to say, my own home state. There was in Bengali, there's a thing, Paiye Deva culture. For decades, you become used to this. You will look up to the sky, wait for the rain, you'll quench your thirst. Atmanirbharta took us away from that. And this feeling is also, it brings you a feeling of pride that I can do something. Vocal for local. What can India not produce? Why should we produce it and then say, oh, but this is based on a technology which is not ours? I have lived a good part of my life when there were two very famous acronyms used in our production in industry. And this was all government sponsored, CKD and SKD. CKD stood for completely knocked down, and SKD stood for semi knocked down. So you would import products CKD or SKD and then assemble it in India and call it your production. By the way, in those cartons which you would import the CKD or SKD would also come the screwdriver or the nut bolts, which you would use to tighten. That is where we suffered. That is where we suffered because we did not let our own technology develop. Today, it is not the case. When you say vocal for local, take pride in your own production. Look at the countries who take pride in their own production and see where they are. See Japan, South Korea, USA, Germany. They are in the tops. I can tell you with my own experience in USA, if there is an American product, even if it is more expensive, they will prefer to buy an American product than to buy an imported product. I'm talking of industrial products. I'm not talking of shirts and textiles. Because they take pride in the American product and they say, this is made in India. Sorry, this is made in America. I like that. I made that slip. It's made in India because that's at the back of my mind. Now, again, does it mean India is closing down? No, ladies and gentlemen, India is not closing down. We will remain a vibrant global economy with both import and export trade. But every Indian would be taking pride. We did two things in the space front. The Mars orbiter and the moon lander, the Mangalyaan and the Chandrayaan. We zapped the world, and I'm using the words very carefully. We zapped the world when, in the very first attempt, we reached 1.5 minutes away from a successful moon landing. Even when that happened, of course it was, we did not make the final landing. But even then, our Prime Minister stood by the scientists only to encourage them. You will do that another time. And by the way, both our ventures in space was at the lowest possible cost, and both in the first attempt. During the pandemic, Indian entrepreneurship came to full bloom. The day COVID-19 struck the world, India did not have a single PPE. We did not even know what an N95 mask was, at least not most people. Of course, people in medical practice would know. But all that we knew were the surgical masks, which you would see only when you would go to a hospital. The protective gear, we did not know. The protective goggles, we only saw industrial goggles. We did not have a single PPE manufacturer. We today are the world's second largest PPE manufacturer and a net exporter. During the pandemic, this is Indian entrepreneurship at its best. Even when there was lockdown, people converted their manufacturing lines to meet this requirement. And of course, it's business. I'm not saying that it was all philanthropy. It is business. Touching on the NEP 2020, education, I mean, I'm not fortunate who will benefit from this NEP 2020. I'm way past. I'm not even been a have been, I've been a had been. Now, I remember when I did my graduation, I'm a commerce graduate. I'm a BCom honors. I always could get a feeling that what I am studying, and then in my later life, found that the BCom honors, accountancy being my majors, what I did, hardly I could apply in work life because our graduation process, our BCom, which produced huge number of students, was still, even when I passed out in 1977, was tailor-made to produce clerks to serve the East India Company, which had left our shores in 1947. It's an unfortunate commentary. So with the result, we were producing and we continued to produce square pegs for round holes. India has the highest number of graduates coming out every year. We have one of the highest educated educated people in the list of unemployed. And from the industry side, our biggest problem is getting people. We do not get people because we are producing square pegs for round holes. What we have produced, the industry is not consuming. What the industry wants, we are not producing. By this production, I mean education. I feel we put overemphasis on making students into consigned to memory, mug up everything, go and get a degree. Degree will not get you your livelihood. Degree holders will not make the industrial wheels run. What NEP 2020 brings in, it brings in a huge flexibility, which frankly, I was surprised, even though I'm part of the system. I've had the privilege of being made the chairman of a B school of IIM Shillong. But the flexibility which students abroad have, you can take a gap year, you can take a sabbatical, you can come back. Now, otherwise, in our education system, you are like part of a manufacturing process. You enter from a nursery and you keep going till you reach graduation or post-graduation. There's never a break. You continue. You cannot pursue anything in between. You cannot even let your mental horizons be widened because you're part of the chain. In families, because we were so drilled in with this, it was unthinkable if a student said, look, sorry, I don't want to study. There would be crisis at home. Some people, some parents would even stop eating in protest. NEP 2020 gives flexibility, gives you all-round flexibility. Now, basic idea is entrepreneurship. We want job creators, not just job seekers. A job seeker will want one job. A job creator will not only create, he will provide 10 jobs. This is the difference between what we are now focusing. Indian mindset has to change, and it is changing. I'm very happy because one thing I'm very confident of this country, we adapt very quickly. And it's our youthful population which helps us adapt. We are now moving into the era from job seekers to job creators, and that is all about entrepreneurship. Atmanirbharta, self-reliant. It's only when you're self-reliant will entrepreneurship within you blossom. If you're not self-reliant, you will only be a job seeker. That is why this, and here education has a major role to play, because this is what trains the mind, and this is what trains a very young mind, which ultimately goes and faces the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I, for one, have great confidence. Atmanirbhar Bharat, vocal for local, will create the much desired entrepreneurship where the NEP 2020 is a very big support base. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. It is indeed a great privilege in listening to you. You have rightly said that India entrepreneurship has found a sea change in this in this era of pandemic. We have virtually seen that the Atmanirbhar Bharat has seen its highest change where we move from vocal to local. The production of several lakhs of PPE kits, collaboration of automobile industry to produce ventilators, manufactures of more than 70 made in India products by DRDO, development of low-cost ventilator by a student of IIT Roorkee, the product developed by startups Karnataka to tackle post-COVID to COVID-19 are just a few examples of the capabilities of Indian scientists, IT professionals, and technocrats. You have rightly said that India, though has faced several setbacks, but due to this lockdown, the Indian problem relating to COVID-19 is not as that much which the entire world is facing. Our recovery rate is high. And one best thing what we have said is take pride in their own production, which the Americans do. We all India needs to learn that we should be proud and feel privileged to be the part of Indian system where we can take a pride of our own production. Indian entrepreneurship has rightly come to full bloom in the in the COVID-19. You have rightly said that the Indian education system, in which you are also a part, and I myself is from a commerce background, which I can relate, that obviously not a commerce, but if we talk about any education, which is basically what according to you produces a square peg which industry doesn't require. You are rightly said, even the chartered accountant students are not getting their appropriate job which they are supposed to get after passing because they hardly go for an articleship. A dummy articleships and all these things are in the prevalent now. So they are not as industry need. You are right. You have rightly said that NEP will certainly going to bring about flexibility, entrepreneurship, which is all about creating job, and there will be a shift from job seeker to job provider or job creator. To you, the self-reliance will blossom, and rather entrepreneurship will blossom when one will be self-reliant, else one will only be a job seeker. To you, Atmanirbhar Bharat and local for local will certainly going to be an impetus for providing an entrepreneurship and new direction to this country. Thank you very much, sir. You had been a great source of inspiration. Perhaps I am confident the entire members, entire certainly learned a lot from you, and your words of wisdom has certainly provided us to move in a longer way. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for your kind words. Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you. With this, we have now we move to Professor Dr. Sunil Kumar Somani, Honorable Vice Chancellors of Mid-Cape University. Sir will going to speak on the role of universities in fostering entrepreneurship in Indian perspective. I invite Professor Dr. Sunil Kumar Somani, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mid-Cape University, to deliver his address, sir.
सभी को नमस्कार। I believe my
Namaskar, sir.
screen is sharing, sir.
Yeah, it's sharing. It's sharing.
Yeah, yeah. So, respected chair, Dr. Joshi, Vishwajit Babu, all eminent personalities, including Mr. Shishir, Ms. Rania, Dr. Chris, Dr. Malobika, and I don't know who else are there, but my due respect to all. And I am given the topic, the role of the universities in fostering the entrepreneurship, the Indian perspective. First of all, let me thank Rai Babu and Mr. Ray and the other people who are behind bringing me to this forum. I am happy to share that being both in academia and industry, I can see how the role of the academia, the higher education in particular, improves the entrepreneurship skill, and in particularly what the India is doing in this behalf. Entrepreneurship, definitely there is a lot of change in the globalization. There are competitions. Sometimes it is the social need, sometimes it is the corporate requirement. COVID is one of the pandemic which started off in 19 only. Now we are in September, but it has given, as Shishirji has told, that we were not aware of N95 and so on and so forth. But now we are able to export the kits also. Initially, we were not aware of how to use the mask, because unless it is industrial application, we are not able to do anything. But quickly we adapt to the technology. We have lot of changes. So any idea, any innovation may be existing, may be new, but the entrepreneurship generates a lot. And this is in the blood of all the Indians as well. Academia and entrepreneurship, particularly in 2000, it saw the innovation model, which involved the customer, channel partners, the universities, and so on and so forth. And basically, there are two kinds of philosophy. One is the academia entrepreneur, one is non-academia entrepreneur. So I am of the firm belief that academia graduates are basically the futuristic entrepreneurship. They are more dynamic or innovative because of their basic inherent capability of which is backed up by their academic qualification. Though we can see that the Stanford, which is the best example how the Silicon Valley evolved, we have already seen those things. So the academy always helps, and it promotes the self-employment as well. There, I'll discuss certain other things related with the, whether it is self-employment or the employer-employee relationship kind of thing. We'll see. But the university are basically the platform where the academic and entrepreneurship, and at the end, it is the academic entrepreneur which comes into the picture, where the university and the business both takes one step forward to bring a lot of entrepreneurs which are academic, having better background. In India, when the budget 2020 was announced, uh, when Mr. Modi has took the charge as Prime Minister of India, he has brought so many schemes, and Gujarat being one of the model state where most of the people have the capability to start the business, do the business. For that sake, when the same chief minister became the Prime Minister of India, he took the advantage of those backgrounds, and then the economic impact which he brought into the culture is more than the earlier one. So the non-academic entrepreneur, they don't have the knowledge, but yeah, their forefathers and the other people where they have brought it. They have the entrepreneurship skill, but not backed up by the technology, not backed up by the academic record. And therefore, the university plays a vital role in this. High investment was announced in budget also. So we can see that such kind of entrepreneur will be better than the earlier one. And we have seen that this trend was promoted not only in USA, but Germany and other countries. But entrepreneurship education and full support by the university to those academic background and with the student, it helps a lot in promoting the trend. Similarly, you can see that nowadays the universities and the Academia Institute of Higher Education, they are fostering the culture of different activities like teamwork, the innovation, the support, incubation. There are so many programs, and resources are also provided in the university itself, where it was merely the classroom kind of thing, but it has converted from classroom to the incubation cell center. And in some of the universities, you will find that they have started producing certain items, products, or the services also from the same campus. So it is well taken up by the industrialist as well, because they as entrepreneur, sometimes it is the time, it is the cost which is involved. So they are taking care of by the Academia Institute at very low cost also. The funding and incubating entrepreneurship cell in the campus, it has helped a lot, not only in India, but across the world, so that new and new entrepreneurship qualities which were there inherently with the students, but were not able to experiment on those. And sometimes it is the funding which is also provided by the higher education institutes. So it is the promotion of the trend. And we can see that the benefit ultimately is the young student, which are really risk taker. They are very aggressive in the experimentation, and they have a lot of zeal also to do something new. They can transform the lifestyle. They have the zeal to do something, and they don't have to lose anything as far as those 3 years or 4 years or 2 years of the education which is there in the campus. They can experiment on those things, and they will be able to get better output than the other. Of course, I can see that the entrepreneurship education, it leads to the self-mobilization as well as the self-employment. And there are a number of new ventures which came through the formal education system. And ultimately, it is the choice of the student they have good friends in that area, and they will be able to get a job for themselves as well as their friends there. It is well said so many times that India is having is the country of too many young people, and therefore I believe that sometimes a boy of 6 year or 7 year, we have also seen some example as well, but more will be demonstrated uh, in coming say 5 to 10 years, where there will be lot of young entrepreneur which will come and will help the nation for this. Particularly when we talk of Indian scenario, there are n number of policies which were floated by the government. But I'll speak about, say, Startup India, which is definitely a very good initiative, though it was given name by Modi ji, but ultimately we can see that when the government helps the people to boost up their startup kind of thing and give the policies in favor of Startup India, then definitely it will have a new breed of entrepreneurs which were not in older time, but now it is available. There are certain figures I can quote, but won't discuss over here. But definitely, whatever kind of business now the young entrepreneurs are doing, the role or the percentage is increasing day by day in all the aspects. We have by Niti Aayog the Atal Innovation Mission, and was aim is definitely related with creating the umbrella structure to see the innovation in the ecosystem of the country. It helps the certain policy inputs to the Niti Aayog as well as the government, and ultimately there will be number of policies and new programs for all the sectors of the economy, and we will come up with certain innovation in all those things. And it is not possible for the central government itself and to percolate the policies, and therefore all the state governments and other people must come forward to have their own kind of policies. Not only the help of the center, but the state government's help will be needed. One of the example is UP government startup policy. Similar to that is Madhya Pradesh government policy. But all the government must come forward and help the young entrepreneur. Young entrepreneur, I am not asking or telling that it is only the 6 year or 10 year or 12 year. A person who is in their 50s or 60s, but have hidden talent of better entrepreneurship, and now if there are certain policies which favors him to brought forward whatever entrepreneurship skills are there, so everything by the state government and the central government will help. And we can see that there are n number of promotional skills. When we will Google that what kind of promotional schemes are there, we'll find number of schemes are there, and whatever promotions are there, not only through the entrepreneur but through the academia. It is also we are getting regularly from the higher educational ministry, the UGC, the concerned bodies, maybe AICTE, maybe MCI, and so on and so forth. They are helping the academia also to give chance to their students for better entrepreneurship skill. The NEP, National Education Policy, also not only in the higher education, but in schooling level also, they are inculcating the skill so that the person who is in say first, second or fifth standard, they can think on developing those skills. They will have the experience, the training will be given to them, the money and time definitely will be required, but will be helped by different institutes. Uh, the importance of entrepreneurship education is well known to all of us. Uh, I will say that it is the economy which requires better entrepreneurship skill, and once there are number of entrepreneurs, it will help everybody, not only the people, but in general the society as well as the nation. And it is true for India, it is true for world also. So the people will have better self-esteem because they don't have to work under certain people, and they will be able to do business by their own. They will be having the control of their all affairs. So it is the entrepreneurship education which is very important. We can see that whatever is the value creation, whether it is operational or whether it is entrepreneurship, we will have to go hand in hand with both the things. What already we have done and what are the new ways of working, both the things, when the combination will be there, the balance between the two things will be there, I believe that more and more fruitful result will be there. The achievement part of the entrepreneurship, we can see that now the people who are there in the new founders of business, they are in 30s only. Most of the people who are engineering graduate, they are there. And the best part is the female founders, they have increased their share from almost 0% to more in 2 digits now. I believe that more will come. And there are a number of startups which all of us are knowing, maybe Swiggy, maybe Byju's, and so on and so forth. So these were given the seed capital from all over world, and now they are flourishing like anything. Initially, uh, definitely, say Oyo started with say 11 rooms only, but now you can see that how such kind of startups have flourished all the way. There are different figures and related with the technology. Yes, because I am mechanical engineer and basically technocrat. So the people uh, from the technical side, they are doing a well contribution in the economy as well. And I believe that in time to come, definitely all the tech startup will have better uh, contribution in the nation's growth. Of course, we can see that the metros are having the major chunk of such kind of startups. But now we can see that in tier 2 and tier 3 cities also, there are n number of startups which are coming and will be contributing to the society. And this, I believe that the business education has become new normal, because earlier it was only the academia which were given the task of educating the students, but not including the business education as such, not promoting the people to go away from their studies to the business. it was in my own time, it was asked that first complete the education and then go into the business. But now with say schooling, the people are promoting that business must be there. So I believe that this will become a new normal, and the education system is definitely upgrading as the national education policy has taken care from the schooling to the middle education to higher education. And now it is the chance to everybody that whatever say the people wish to uh, go for 1 year study certificate course kind of thing, 2 year study, the diploma, post diploma, degree, doctorate, and so on and so forth. Anytime you can enter into the education system and go out of the education system. And during my discussion with the learned people, I believe that in time to come, maybe after 5 years, 10 years, or down the line, we'll see that physical infrastructure related with the education system will be the bare minimum need. Only some of the educational institute will need such kind of thing, but they will have all the tie-ups with the industry. They will give certain training or the skill development theoretical aspect in the classroom, but most of the time it will be the industry which will take care of their education system as well. So let's see what educational system will do. But there are different models. I'll see that there will be assignment which trigger the emotional events and situation, and which in turn will develop the entrepreneurship competencies in the people, and ultimately some business output. We have seen generation of Indian businessmen. Maybe Ambani inherited this, or Tatas, and so on and so forth. But some of the late entrant into the business, like Narayan Murthy and other people. But now you can see that most of the people from the India, they are into their 30s or 40s only, or even younger than that. And you can see that this growth of the people into their business is tremendous. And I'm happy that the women entrepreneurs are doing very well in such kind of scenario. And in time to come, it will definitely take charge of so many things. And what exactly will be the role of the university? It can be into different roles. Some of the roles I have narrated here. It may be reflexive, catalytic role, or it may be supportive, analytic, or something like that. But ultimately, it is the knowledge which has to be given to the students, and also at the same time provide certain help in their business also. And ultimately, the society will get better academic entrepreneur as such, and will give the values to the life. Nowadays, this IITs and other people, particularly the AICT, has taken care. And now in new education policy also, the value education has been added into the all kind of education. So I believe that better human with good social values will also help in better entrepreneurship skills. The specific function of the universities may be research and teaching as well. And one thing which is there in NEP is lifelong education system. So the technology will take the networking of the people, and when the people will have the experience in the business, and they will come into the academia, go out of it for say 1 year, 2 year, or 5 years, and a person who is having the experience in their 40s will come to the academia again. It will help and improve the overall system. Ultimately, from the boss and slave kind of thing or employer-employee kind of relationship, when it will be the entrepreneur who will be there and the stockholder, the employees will also be the stakeholder in the development of the business itself, then definitely the scene will be different. And the government has to be very supportive in this. The policies which are coming up, and in time to come, it will be holistic development of the student and the system as well at all the levels. And it will definitely meet the social need of the economic need. Definitely will be there from the entrepreneur, but it will be social economic need of the country which has to be there. The higher education can produce the people with the better understanding, better technology, highly skilled force, and ultimately the job creation is also pointed out by Mr. Shishir, that the people who are creating the job are better than only doing some slavery kind of thing. And as custodian of the knowledge, we are our responsibilities are more compared to the other people. And we can see that the entrepreneurship as a core course in the education will definitely help and improve the efficiency as such. There are definitely certain challenges for the entrepreneurs. It may be cultural barrier, but their time, cost, and other things are there. Most of the time, we call that we are dependent on the government. But when we'll face those challenges, we will start and facing the challenges, we'll definitely get the success on it. Yes, I believe that education and entrepreneurship in India are changing, and it is at accelerated pace now compared to the earlier times when I was the student, or some of my co-speakers were a student. That time, such kind of environment was not there. But now it is changing, and definitely such change will have a better future, not only for India, but for the world. And the scope ahead is really huge. We can see that there are funding agencies, the infrastructure is better. We are having different other models as well, which are coming into the force. Sometimes it is Atmanirbhar Bharat, sometimes it is made in India kind of thing. Sometimes it is why not to go ahead with all of the schemes which the government is giving, are inherently when there are certain business which like Ambani's have inherited. So we have to improve such kind of thing. We need the initiatives and formal adoption in the university education system as well. I believe that such kind of initiatives and things will help everybody. Jai Hind. Thank you everyone, to the great God, my Medicafs University and our people, particularly in preparation of such lecture. The help I have been extended by Ms. Vaishali, Dr. Sarita, Dr. Shilpa, and Dr. Pathak. And SIARD people are given credit to such kind of organization. The whole team, I won't name the people, but definitely Mr. Rai and the session chair and all the attendees as well. Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for sharing your deep insight into the role of university in fostering entrepreneurship education, particularly rightly focused on the different aspects where the university education, higher education in particular, can lead to the growth and lead to the self-reliant India. Obviously, you have spoken a lot about promoting a need for promotion of Indian industries. You have spoken about that the economic impact is more than the economic impact is more for the non-academic entrepreneurs, basically from Gujarat and other regions of the country. But the importance of academic educator is very high. They are the catalyst for the high technology startups. You have spoken about various startup initiative being operational in India, which is based on the idea, plans, team, business, and lead to the success. Startup India, which is a motto of nurturing a new breed of entrepreneur, has undoubtedly a great success in India. Apart from Startup India, you have also spoken about Atal Innovation Mission, which leads to develop the innovation ecosystem in the country. And perhaps the most important, what you've talked about, the NEP 2020, which is about inculcating and developing the skills among the youths. The key driver for the economic development, creation of wealth, and the jobs are related. You have also nicely spoken about the value creation in which the operational competencies and entrepreneurship competencies are imbibed in a judicious blending manner. They has to be properly balanced and does lead to a proper value creation. You have also focused on the role of female entrepreneurs in Indian economy. India has seen an resurgence of the rising women entrepreneurs over the decades. And you have also highlighted some of the entrepreneurs in India, such as Swiggy, Oyo, Udan, Zomato, and many more. You have also focused on the theme that business education is a new normal now. We have to focus on providing the business education rather than providing just a rhetoric education where rot and taught should be removed. Business education should be a major paradigm shift where as the educational system is upgrading. We have to develop a new entrepreneurial education model where the role of the university should be at the highest. So thank you very much, sir, for your kind words, your words of wisdom, and you have nicely highlighted the role of universities in fostering entrepreneurship and Indian perspective. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind and brief lecture. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
With these, now we have another invited lecture by Her Excellency Ms. Rania Lampo of Ministry of Education and Religious Affairs, Government of Greece. She'll be speaking on reimagining entrepreneurship in the post-COVID-19 era, a Greek approach. So reimagining entrepreneurship in the post-COVID-19 era, a Greek approach, perhaps it's very nicely sound that how entrepreneurship will be in the post-COVID era in Greek. So thank you very much, ma'am, for and I request you to kindly enlighten us with your kind words. Madam, yes,
hello to
yes,
every participant.
I
want to thank SCI-Arc for its kind invitation to participate in this resourceful conference. Greetings to Dr. Chris and Dr. Sanil also. I'm Rania Lampo from Greece. Currently, I'm working at the Greek Ministry of Education at the Directorate of Educational Technology and Innovation. And today we're going to reimagine and redefine entrepreneurship in the post-COVID era with all its changes and opportunities. And I will also present you some aspects of the Greek entrepreneurship. May I share my presentation?
Yeah, sure, ma'am, sure.
COVID has unleashed a wave of innovation as well as new innovation challenges. It has created the need for organizations, societies, and individuals to adapt quickly to shifts and design techniques and practices to experiment and explore new options. The profound economic and social effects of this crisis have made a substantial redefinition of the dominant paradigm's imperative. It's the shake-up, I think, needed to restructure the system. I believe that the COVID crisis could also be a great resetter of economies, societies, and education, an opportunity to bring forward long-awaited reforms for development. Within this framework, talking about a rapid recovery and return to the former situation is not realistic. Disruption across entire sectors increase, new forms of work and remote consumption become commonplace, with all the technological and geographic implications. Therefore, business models will have to be adapted in this reset. Governments have set new rules and norms to try to re-establish confidence, give economies a chance of survival, and have taken action to support local ecosystems. According to the World Economic Forum, it is also almost certain that the way entrepreneurial businesses are affected today will have an impact on how entrepreneurship is perceived as a job choice in the future. The changes we observe today may be a double-edged sword. That means that some might state that the crisis could negatively impact the entrepreneurship, while others might suggest that the shifts we observe today could alter perceptions of entrepreneurship for the better. In recent years, entrepreneurship has become more and more associated with stereotypical high-tech startups entrepreneurs, often based in certain geographical areas and fertile environments across the world. But although the success of these young companies are undoubtedly essential for the advancement of our societies, some might argue that entrepreneurship has become a chance only for the few, for those who access to the right type of education, funding, and networks. So we have to talk about democratizing entrepreneurship and creating new entrepreneurial role models that people can more easily identify with. And this could ultimately lower the threshold of entrepreneurship for many and get people to start their own business. Since the start of the COVID pandemic, more than 60% of startups have had to terminate full-time employee contracts. However, while a large number of startups have suffered during the pandemic, COVID has also led to an increase in entrepreneurial activity. We can mention automotive companies manufacturing ventilators, startups and individuals producing and selling face masks and shields, and so on. Companies and individuals across the world have devised new ideas to respond to emerging needs insufficiently addressed by governments. And this is a reminder for us to reconsider how we value innovation in entrepreneurial systems. Therefore, a repurposing approach, redirecting existing knowledge skills networks to new needs, it's a fundamental survival strategy and growth opportunity. We talk about resilience. Resilience is a tool for surviving during crisis and for thriving. Leaders of small and medium enterprises must focus on 5 key areas or pillars of resilience across leadership, revenues, the organization, finance, and operation. Resilience requires entrepreneurs to engage in 2 contradictory activities. One activity is bouncing back from the collapse of markets, the breaking of supply chains, and the depletion of workforce capacity. The other one is learning how to leap forward into markets, supply chains, and talent markets, where the rules for survival and success are changing. So to bounce back and leap forward, small and medium enterprises need to respond effectively in 5 key pillars that together form resilience. These are, as we see, first one is leadership resilience. Leadership resilience is a team activity, team sport. So it requires to fortify an entire network of relationships, taking into account all stakeholders from customers and suppliers to community. Second one, revenue resilience. Changes that cut off revenue streams can jeopardize, in many cases, companies' future. Thousands of businesses have accelerated sales programs under the pandemic, but often customers perceive such sales efforts as desperate. So this jeopardizes connection, engagement with the customer. This could be avoided how? By having prepared in advance for market shifts, by initiating a naturally resilient relationships with the customers. Another one is the organizational resilience. A strong organization will not only allow to survive changes, but will also strengthen the culture and reveal hidden abilities. For example, in the present pandemic, many business owners are discovering new emergent leaders and employees with critical but previously untapped, undiscovered, unexplored skills. The current crisis caught many business owners without an explicit plan for cutting personal expenses, whether by workforce reduction or salary cuts. While the need is still fresh, creating a written plan for cost cutting is something which is very important. Another pillar is financial resilience. A surprising number of business owners leave the details of the finance to their accountants, which is not so good. The most important element of preparing is to be financially resilient, is to have a firm grasp on how money moves through your company. The cash flow forecast is the most important tool to do this. And of course, the operational resilience, one of the biggest surprises of the current pandemic has been the fragility of supply chains. Therefore, it is important to map out supply chain from raw materials to the end customer. This means earmark primary and secondary suppliers and identify all potential vulnerabilities. Now, coronavirus has forced a shift to interactive distance and hybrid learning models, increasing inequality and the social gap. Until recently, education systems have mostly prepared students to perform certain social functions in a relatively predictable world. However, the world is changing. The world is changing, and we can no longer expect the same. Education as the cornerstone of society in which a country's talent potential is developed is particularly sensitive to the dynamism and the changes. Today's students will soon need to deal with complex sustainability challenges, which requires totally new skills and attitudes to be developed. In order to participate in the economy of the future, we must address education. So far, many traditional education systems have been designed to train us to follow instructions and the prescribed curriculum. Schools, and this is just as true for many organizations also, tend to reward people for being able to perform according to standards. So traditional education systems around the world usually promote causal and linear thinking. However, teaching entrepreneurship thinking should include divergent thinking, entrepreneurial reasoning and behavior, creative skills, and teaching of a different way to think and behave. Creativity skills are learned by experiencing and applying creative thinking processes. And here we can see, according to Sir Ken Robinson, the English philosopher, we learn to be innovative and entrepreneurial by exploring, using imagination, and synthesizing information. In the entrepreneurship education, there is not only the practical side, providing tools such as market research, business planning, and negotiation techniques, there are also the creative skills. We should not forget that. It's not surprising that a significant number of successful and innovative entrepreneurs, including Google's founder, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, Amazon Jeff Bezos, video game pioneer Will Wright, began their education in the Montessori school system, where they learned to follow their curiosity and think differently. Google, for instance, didn't begin as a brilliant vision or ingenious idea, but as a project to improve library searches. Soon it sparked a series of small discoveries that eventually unlocked a revolutionary business model. So how can we teach entrepreneurship? For decades, there has been a debate on whether academicians are the right people to teach entrepreneurship, and if in fact it is something that can be learned. Some argue the only way that these skills can be taught is by entrepreneurs themselves, presenting their successes and failures and share real-world practical experience. Others say entrepreneurship cannot be taught, as successful entrepreneurs have distinct traits which are innate. Another important thing is that we have to align research and entrepreneurship. In the long term, as the main source of growth in knowledge economies is innovation, a consolidation of the entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem will be necessary. Aligning research with business is necessary. Companies, universities, and research centers will act as talent magnets, creating mutual and social support networks for entrepreneurs. Aligning universities and agents of education with the new economy and the new technological context must be a priority to drive the impact of new talent on the nation's development and competitiveness. Focusing on the development of local talent in competencies such as humanistic business, entrepreneurship with values, holistic innovation, business intelligence, it is important to reinstitute competitive advantages based on innovation technology rather than relying on the comparative advantages of labor and geographical proximity. In order also to nurture a new generation of future entrepreneurial thinkers, we need to focus on social needs. Now, we're going to talk about Greece. According to the results of surveys among national experts on entrepreneurship issues, the business environment in Greece remains less favorable. In 2008, we had a great recession and depression in Greece. This had enormous impact on the Greek economy, with unemployment percentages soaring to high levels. For youth, this rate was even lower, with more than 50% unemployed. In the end, the Greek depression set the record for the longest recession ever happened in a modern capitalist society, even beating the American Great Depression. However, although the Greek economy experienced a great devastation and multiple bankruptcies, the stage was set. The stage was set for a revival of growth through entrepreneurship amongst the population of hardworking risk takers. So during the crisis, we should highlight the response of a growing community of Greek entrepreneurs who sought to build a new generation of innovative, largely tech-based enterprises and lay the foundation of a new economic landscape for the country. The crisis forced also a change in the perception of entrepreneurship, with the need to restore growth through entrepreneurship becoming critical. In 2016, as Greece's reputation was damaged during the big debt crisis, small to medium enterprises faced the difficulty of gaining the trust of foreign investors. Furthermore, the tax code was far too complex and costly to provide a competitive atmosphere. In 2016, the Greek government partnered with the European Investment Fund to create Equifund, enabling illustrious growth of the companies they have invested in. The so-called Greek Startup Manifesto was written to express the discontent of the entrepreneurs and desire to reform tax structures for organizations such as Equifund, and as organizations such as Equifund were working to put more pressure on politicians. Now, according to the National Entrepreneurship Context Index, which evaluates the business environment in the country, Greece occupies one of the last positions in the rankings. Compared to the majority of the European innovation-driven countries, Greek entrepreneurship presents a low momentum due to many reasons, such as bureaucracy, non-solid, so unstable tax framework, lack of policies that encourage entrepreneurship, and ineffective function of mechanisms to support new ventures. Greece has always had a strong tendency towards entrepreneurship, with a high number of businesses per capita. However, according to the results of surveys, many businesses had the record for being unproductive and focused on consumption sectors with low growth perspective. The main obstacles in business activity in Greece are the following: the lack of a solid framework of national policies for entrepreneurship, bureaucracy, the unstable tax system, lack of tax incentives, and the inefficient operation of public mechanisms to promote the establishment of new businesses. According to the annual Entrepreneurship Report 2018-2019 of the Foundation for Economic and Industrial Research, the Greek economy is improving now and has strengthened the number of new businesses in 2018, a trend that continued in 2019. The report showed that 6% of the population aged between 80 and 64 years were in the initial stages of starting an enterprise, including self-employment, up from 4% in 2017. More than 8% of the population is estimated to have started a business activity in 2019, and opportunity entrepreneurship has also grown at the expense of necessity entrepreneurship. So in 2018, entrepreneurship is a key lever for growth, restoration, and job creation. It seems that the growth momentum in 2018, the emergence of some new financing tools have boosted new entrepreneurship and self-employment despite its unfavorable tax system. In the years following the Greek crisis, entrepreneurship in Greece has emerged as a key lever for growth, restoration, job creation. Greek startup ecosystem was brought into the spotlight, and it keeps growing ever since. The last years, the Greek startup scene saw a stage of consolidation with new success. Several developments demonstrate the progress that is happening in Greece on the innovation front and set a promising path towards a technologically fueled economic growth. Athens was awarded the title of the European Capital of Innovation 2018 and received 1 million prize by the European Research and Innovation Program Horizon 2020. In 2018, global leading companies chose to invest in Greek services and products. For instance, Tesla established Tesla Greece. And we should also mention that Greece also presents a high degree of internationalization. So now in 2020, in Greece, a number of startups have been capitalizing on Greece's islands, creating business around the tourism industry, including yachting, hotel booking, and cultural activities. Today, the startup ecosystem is attractive to entrepreneurs from all over the world. Greece attracts many aspiring entrepreneurs who are working on promising new ideas and innovative business models. Greece is a favorable market for investment. Why? Because it has a highly educated talent pool. Most Greeks are fluent English speakers. Greece is situated at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa, and is surrounded by several startup support organizations, markets, and is a part of the European Union. We could, for example, we could mention Startup Greece, which is an information, networking, and collaboration space aimed at creating a new generation of entrepreneurs in Greece. It is supported by the Ministry of Economy, Development and Tourism, and the Greek government in collaboration with communities of young entrepreneurs. Properties and wages are low compared to the rest of the Eurozone, and it has also excellent living conditions, mild temperatures, and a low crime rate. Greece, here we can see some statistics. Athens ranks 28th in the Global City Talent Competitiveness Index 2018 among 90 cities. Here we can see the Greek entrepreneurial ecosystem. We can say that what are the important factors that affect entrepreneurship in Greece is that national policies and strategies for the support of entrepreneurship through public-private programs, as well as special actions for women and unemployed people. Of course, primary and secondary education, the improvement of the education system in Greece to include skills for the development of sustainable business activities, and the rules of domestic market related to the competition and the market entry barriers are reduced to enable new and small businesses to gain momentum. After all, it is more important in an economy to enhance the quality characteristics of new entrepreneurship effect rather than just increasing the number of new ventures. The Greek growth model, however, should be based on an economy that will become more extrovert, more attractive to investors, and more active in new and promising industry sectors. With the help of large institutional investments and accelerator programs, I believe that Greece could realistically become a competitive startup hub. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Perhaps you have given us a global outlook to the need to adapt quickly to change to this pandemic. You have really sailed us to the entire story of the Greece, the effect right of global meltdown of 2008 until 2020. You have also spoken nicely on the start. That means you have talked about COVID-19, a great resettler can be for an economy, Greece economy. You have developed a several model for the development of entrepreneurship skills in the Greece. Finally, you have also talked about the 5 key pillars of resilience, that is leadership, revenue, organizational, financial, and operations resilience in Greece. You have also talked about the problem that was with the traditional system of education, which were very casual and linear model. You have talked about what could be the new education system. You have highlighted on the new teaching skills should include the divergent teaching, entrepreneurship, reasoning, divergent thinking and behavior, creative skills and teaching in a different way to believe and behave. You have also talked on the several issues. Can we teach entrepreneurship? Yes. You have yourself given the answer to this, some that entrepreneurship can always be taught, though, and some inherent qualities are there within the individuals, but obviously we can look forward to provide them a better entrepreneurship abilities in him through a formal education at the higher educational level. You have also given us quite a good picture of why Greece can be the favorable market for the investment. And obviously, you have highlighted on the need to provide a better primary and secondary education structure so that Greece can be a favorable destinations for investment in the near future to come. Thank you very much, ma'am. You have undoubtedly uh, provided your thoughts. Perhaps we have opportunity to listen from, and you are one of the bureaucrat, you are the minister there, and you can better provide us with the knowledge of the educations and since you being the minister there, so perhaps we have been able to learn better and how reimagining entrepreneurship can be in the post-COVID-19 in Greece. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for being with us and providing us with your words of wisdom. Thank you very much. With this, we have another session. We have another lecture from Dr. Jane Sengupta, Honorable Chairman, Gurukul EduTech Education and Research Foundation, Kolkata. Dr. Sengupta will be speaking on impact of COVID-19 on the skill ecosystem in India. I request Dr. Sengupta.
Dr. Joshi,
Yeah.
Dr. Joshi, Dr. Sengupta will join sometimes later. So you can ask Dr. Shivaji for this.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
He will after that.
Yeah. So Dr. Shivaji Banerjee is a professor in the Department of Commerce there in the St. Xavier's College Autonomous, Kolkata, a very known person to me. He'll be speaking on redefining higher education in the new normal, prioritizing innovations and entrepreneurship. Dr. Shivaji Banerjee, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Joshi. A very good afternoon to the Honorable Chairperson, panelists, eminent resource persons, and Syed, especially for giving me this opportunity in this platform to exchange my views with other resource persons from all over the world. Now, entrepreneurship, higher education, and COVID-19 can be very much integrated into something very interesting. So my take on this topic and lecture would be to take you through exactly this journey and explore ways and opportunities how entrepreneurship and management education keeping innovation as the facilitator. Technology has brought about a radical change, a transformation in the teaching and learning method and replacing the traditional chalk and talk method of teaching. Massive online courses, MOOC, aimed at unlimited participation with open access via the web. And India is considered to be the biggest market for MOOCs in the world in the USA. Since the population in India is large, MOOCs is said to open gateways for bringing about an educational revolution or a transformation. Online distant learning programs provide today greatest opportunities to avail high quality learning with the help of internet connectivity. In the new normal, digital learning offers its own advantages as it creates greater learning engagement, it is cost effective, and the students get to learn in the confines of home or comfort zones. And this is where the need for education arises. And blended education can be taken as a combination of both online and offline methods of teaching in the transference of learning, and possibly this would be the more in future thanks to COVID-19, as all the physical distancing norms are maintained and companies such as Microsoft Teams is being utilized as the medium through Google Meet and Zoom and other medium are becoming increasingly popular for developing a well-defined online course. So technology can basically provide an alternative to the conventional education system and compensate and mitigate for the impediments that is created by the COVID-19 phenomena. Learning, as it is said, is a continuous and ever-evolving process, and educational institutions can use this adversity as a blessing in disguise and make digital education an integral part of learning process for all the beneficiaries in future. This technological advancement brought about by COVID-19 phenomena in a major way all over the world has brought about transformation in communication patterns, thereby transcending boundaries and bringing about the mindset to go for an out-of-the-box thinking with innovation in an evolving world. Education aims at integrating the development of a student considering their physical, their mental, their aesthetic, and other aspects of life that has the potential to transform an individual into a globally competitive citizen. Education also leads to what we call making someone a technocrat, a manager, an entrepreneur, or an innovator. They have to have a progressive mind and to serve humanity with a purpose. When industry and business demand diverse skills, qualities, and the right attitude, learning has to be more experiential and inspiring. Education can no longer remain confined to the traditional one-dimensional transfer of knowledge to from the faculty to the students in the classroom, but it should connect with remote learning and a new normal. Remote learning, as I said, becoming the new normal, it is breaking all the traditional barriers of the concept of time and place. With the introduction of policy 2020, the education sector in the country is possibly going to witness the greatest revolution, as changes are expected to happen in every dimension of education, in the teaching and learning process in particular. The policy of NEP aims at providing skill-oriented education and also equips the young adults as future-ready, out-of-the-box thinkers. This term has been coined in the higher education scenario as OBE, or outcome-based education. And outcome-based education would possibly be the new normal also. An expert opined, fostering entrepreneurship has become a topic of highest priority in public policy. So any decision-making body, any educational policy keeps a special focus and importance on entrepreneurship. And this is particularly due to the widespread recognition that startups are playing a major role in driving economic growth and are very, very significant in creating new jobs. As a result, it is important to understand that educational institutions have to give entrepreneurship and innovation as the top priority, as entrepreneurship would be the catalysts for higher educational technology startups, and educational institutions exactly play the role of a facilitator. Considerable attention has also therefore been placed on formal entrepreneurship. education at the university level, and public authorities becoming increasingly aware, who stresses the importance of promoting the aspirations for entrepreneurship and highly educated people. So entrepreneurship is no longer given a secondary importance, but focus with emphasis on how innovation can foster it. The focus on fostering an innovation and education-based entrepreneurship for the students. Educational institutions, therefore, need to keep pace with innovation to groom the future leaders. The Atal ranking of institutions on innovation achievements on the initiative of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, Government of India, was launched to spur innovation in the country. The Atal Institutional Framework Yojana ranks education institutions and universities primarily on innovation-related indicators. So this new norm is coming. Educational institutions are on the basis of their innovation-related aspects. It also considers, this concept also considers how universities and institutions can use this rank to become globally competitive and deliver innovative education. This gives importance, creates trust on the creation of IPR, innovation, startup, entrepreneurship, pre-incubation, and incubation infrastructure. Thus supporting and spending more on promotion and other entrepreneurial activities, with IPR and innovation and entrepreneurship development being the focus. The Vice country emphasized the need for Indian higher education to play the role of an enabler and a force multiplier. I repeat, these two terms are very not very new, but definitely they add value to our discussion that higher education system should be playing the role of an enabler and a force multiplier to drive innovation in Indian startup ecosystem. Innovation quest for excellence also must become the new norm. Our educational ecosystem must constantly nurture the innate spirit of inquiry and innovative problem solving. The NEP has made several recommendations that will foster innovation, and it has outlined a new vision that it can vastly improve the quality of teaching, the quality of learning, as well as the quality of research that it provides to undertake. Thus, it has urged all educational institutions to reinvent themselves, to create essential conditions to thrive and creativity to blossom. Thus, the focus of innovation on entrepreneurship is happening in non-aided, aided, private, all kinds of colleges and universities, even in the interiors of the country, largely as public funded higher educational institutions are giving importance to it. Most innovation projects by institutions focus on creating a sustainable innovation that addresses the logical needs, requirements of farmers, of citizens, of women, and there are research projects that are on artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, aerospace, space science, and so on. As the future ahead, I would like to end my lecture with a quotation from Stephen Hawking, who had said something very interesting. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. So if we have to survive, if we have to sustain, make our educational system fostering innovation and entrepreneurship, we have to base it on education and intelligence. So then we can enable our educators as well as the educational providers to integrate the concepts and drive change towards a developed and a more happier nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shivaji Banerjee. You have rightly focused on the various aspects of technological driven economy, and you have rightly focused on the importance of MOOCs for the development of teaching learning process in the higher education institution. You have also told that the MOOCs is now the gateway of the educational transformation in India. we should be moving towards the blended education. Perhaps this will be the new normal situation where we need to move on with blended education with online offline mode of teaching. Technology should be the key driver towards innovations and technological upgradations in a educational institution. Technological advancement, outcome-based syllabus, which you have outcome-based education, which you have talked about, and Indian economy is perhaps moving towards the same situation where the UGC is also asking to provide LOCF mode of curriculum and syllabus, where the value-based education together with the innovation and entrepreneurship should be given priority. You have also focused on the role of higher education, which should be towards enabler and multiplier. Quest for excellence through innovation should be there. And so far as the new education policy 2020 is concerned, which focuses on innovations, is to be reinvented, which focuses on the reinvent of the educational system among themselves. It is rightly said that with 2020 national education policy, all the educational institutions at the higher educational level, be it private, public, funded or funded, aided or unaided, now have to look forward towards innovations. Your outcome-based syllabus should be in a right spirit. It should not be on the pen and paper, but should be in the spirit which will provide innovation, which will provide incubation, and which will produce new technocrats and entrepreneurs in the future to come. Thank you, Dr. Banerjee, for sharing with us a kind words, a word of wisdoms, which perhaps has enlightened us. After a long time, I am be hearing you. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In the online platform.
And that's in the online platform. Thank you very much for being with us and sharing your words. With this, I think Dr. Sengupta is
Dr.
there.
Joshi, you will continue with the next speakers. Dr. Sengupta will join. He is on the way.
Okay,
Due to
fine,
some
fine,
reason,
fine.
he have to go to the medical center. That's why.
Oh, I understand. I understand. So
You will continue.
Yeah. So now I request Dr. Malavika Rao of Amity University. She'll be speaking on the New Horizon Empower Competency, Skill and Attitude. Madam, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor, so much. It's again my privilege. Let me offer my gratitude to all the organizers of this program, my gratitude to all the distinguished and who are empowering us with their enlightened words, and that is what we are moving towards the pivot of trying to reframe the new education policy. Before I begin my talk today, I want to draw your attention towards the mnemonic that I came across, SAIRAD. Now the word SAIARD, my interpretation, it drew my attention a lot when I saw the letter SAI. That gave me the sense of Sairam. And that is how Sairam is trying to enlighten us through all-round development. So that is, again, the mnemonic SAIRAD, I could interpret. Thank you so much. I'll just share my screen today.
Sure, ma'am. Please stay.
Yeah. How to share okay. Are you able to see my screen? Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. The topic, I'm Dr. Malavika Rao from Amity University.
But your screen is not just showing Zoom there, so you need to go for a slide share.
I have. Should I redo it?
Yeah, I think.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's absolutely visible, absolutely visible.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you so much. Now, the topic that I have chosen for this particular 2 days virtual conference is because the conference itself is talking a lot about the shift. Now, I'm going to go on trying to undergo with that word shift that the current education and entrepreneur is trying to reshape, reformulate in context to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, the content that I will be addressing in my talk today to introduce my honorable and distinguished speakers here towards the introduction of the topic, the background, the literature review, statement of the problem, purpose, data collection and method, analysis and discussion, and last, the questions. The topic that I have selected for my study was the New Horizon, empower competency, skills, and attitude. I'm going to come to this particular context as to what made me to select this topic for this on this August moment here. Now, if I'm focusing on the title, The New Horizon, the thought that came into my mind is that it is the dawn of consciousness. Why is it the dawn of consciousness? Because I feel that the pandemic has really taught us some hard lessons, directly or indirectly. And it is that time of wakefulness wherein we need to know our recognition. Where are we now standing on this land that has been given to us as an offering? And how do we maintain the integrity of the nation as well? The next section of the title that talks about empowering education and entrepreneurship. Now, for this, education is a tool, but how are we making use of this education? And also trying to fulfill the demands of the industry, because as a faculty or faculty members, we are just trying to play the role of to impart education. But are we turning back to see how the students are trying to face the challenges of the job market? Do they possess those skills? Do they have the right attitude? And what are the levels of their competency that they have built? And then we come to the next segment of the title, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Of course, Atmanirbhar means independence, rejoicing, the blissfulness of liberation. And that cannot happen without experience. Experiencing in terms of some sub-themes that has been selected for the study. Now to come background of the study. Now you see that when we are talking about changes, now we are not new to changes, right? We have seen changes. The history has told us about so many pandemics, epidemics striking in terms of invasions, in terms of dominance, in terms of wars, riots. We are not new to such kind of calamity. And I feel that we are strong enough to withstand and to overcome the pressure, what come may, that comes before us in terms of living in existence. And then we are saying that change is constant, it is not going to change, it is situational, and it is systemic. And then comes the next C, that is challenge. And we know that challenges are evergreen. They are constant, and we need to learn them and also unlearn certain things. Of course, without acceptance, without the right attitude, we cannot withstand. We will not be able to withstand the pressure of challenge, and therefore we become the victim of suffering. And then we also focus on the choices. Sometimes choices they obstruct the path of challenges. So making the right choice at the right time is what one of the tools that the study also focuses. And last but not the least, the next C, that is competency. Of course, competence in terms of knowledge, in terms of skills, in terms of attitude. Because when a child or when a learner proceeds to enter the competitive world, the first thing that he or she is introduced is with the interview. And there, at that junction, if the student is not able to portray, to reflect the knowledge, the experience, and the skills that has been earned through the course of their study, then the entire definition of that interview fails. So let us understand the background as well. Now, this is one of the literature review, and there are many other reviews that has been selected for the study. But at this junction, I draw your attention towards Cordelia Mason, who in the title Entrepreneurship Education in Times of and Research, Emerging Trends and Concerns from the Asian Institute of France of Finance, discussed the emerging trends and concerns. And the paper also described the efforts at the national and international level to produce entrepreneurs and enhanced entrepreneurship training. Because we are trying to impart education, but we are not trying to focus how to train our learners so that they become efficient and effective in the field of expertise. Now, the purpose of the study was to ensure the impact of academic performance and the future of the industry demands. Because as I was listening to Bajoria, sir has focused on rote learning. He spoke about the value of degree, and that drew my attention. And I thought that my purpose of my study that I have selected or I have identified is quite amicable in terms of the study as well. Because it is not that we are fulfilling a demand and meeting our needs in terms of a job. We need to ensure that their future is safeguarded and they are able to get good placements in their area of expertise again. Now, the statement of the problem, the phenomenon, was to examine the question why entrepreneurial competency is imperative in education and how we need to supplement motivation and engagement among the students. Because somewhere down, it has been observed and experienced that there are many lackness or lacuna when we meet or when we interact with students. And at some point of time, we are helpless because it is that time when they come to us, it is too late for us to remodule or to refashion them. So it is the time that from early interventions, in the school system, wherein these things are again implemented and taken good measures in order to ensure that the steps that they take is well settled and accommodated as well. Now, the data collection, it is the researcher's own observation and experience through the years of teaching and learning, and to navigate, to the situation to reach that desired outcome. Because when I'm looking into that desired outcome, there are certain expectations here. Now, my question that I always ask myself, what are the skills that the employers are looking out for? There are many skills. There are skills in terms of competency, in terms of identifying what kind of resources they have, what kind of management do they have with them, what kind of information, then what kind of ability. And there are multi-layer, multifold of expectations that every employer has. And the main focus is to select the candidate who has the right skills for the right job. Now, the method selected for the study was phenomenology qualitative research to understand, experience, and also examine the analysis through the themes and sub-themes identified through the study. And the themes that I'm going to discuss right now, they have been categorized as the main theme and the sub-themes. And the sub-themes will elaborate the focus on the phenomenon and also analyze the finding of the study as well. Now, the first theme, the main theme that has been selected is knowledge. Now, what is knowledge? How is that particular learner trying to understand what knowledge is required for me? Because that is very much important and imperative for every learner to understand. And with that knowledge that the learner is trying to adapt and adopt, looking into the environment, there is a level of understanding that that is helping the learner to empower. And of course, a certain level of consciousness is also very important, because the learner is just not the books that has to be read. It is also the concept and the context that needs to be taken into consideration. So when I'm talking about the concept and the context, the thought that comes into my mind is in terms of the knowledge acquired, in terms of the practical and the technical. Because without the technical language, without the communication ability, the child or the learner will not be able to convince the audience. So here the interpretation is that how would a learner try to get things done? How he or she should be able to reshape the structure of adopting to that specific knowledge. What ideas should he or she try to groom about, and what are the opportunities that is there for the future? So there should be a continuous self-acknowledging about self-assessing, self-acknowledging, self-motivation also, that is very much needed in terms of knowledge. Now, the next theme that has been selected are skills. Now, the skills means what? There's a difference between competency and skills. Skills in terms of how I'm able to convince the other. Skills in terms of my communication. Skills in terms of my interpretation, how I have procured that particular knowledge. And if I'm not able to convince what I have already acquired, then the entire knowledge does not move further. So I need to know how should I market my skills, how I need to interact my skills, and through these, I will be able to, adopt those strategies along with, building up my skills as well. So it is, in short, to garner, to harness, to imbibe the skills. And of course, when we are talking about the skills, it is talks about the market research, because tomorrow when the child thinks to become an entrepreneur, so these are the skills, these are the necessities that are needed, because the market needs to be researched. The child needs to have motivation, learn from new situations, and again set priorities. So everything is blended in a shape that cannot be separated. So it is just like a thread that is woven. The third theme that the study highlights is talking about attitude. Now, there are many things that observation has allowed me to think about attitude in terms of a faculty, in terms of a learner as well. Now, when I'm talking about from the point of view of a learner, of course, there has to be a passion, there has to be a sense of identity, new technique, innovations, a drive, and of course, the behavioral aspect in terms of tolerance, in terms of perseverance, in terms of patience. So these are, again, the behavioral attribute that combines to build up the entire framework of education to make India Atmanirbhar. So what are those personal attributes that employers are looking out for? So there are many. You come across honesty, you come across to be fair in life, you come across with passion. But on the other hand, if I have to talk about attitude, it is we need to impart. And what if the practice is not done from the faculty point of view as well? So I feel that a tremendous training, teachers training has to be, is the need of the hour, wherein teachers also realize the importance of harnessing these skills, attitude, and knowledge amongst the students, because they are learners and all children are born intelligent. We cannot label them with saying that he or she belongs to this category. So I feel the interpretation of this theme revealed that it is one's belief, how one believes in to understand the intensity of the environment that the learner is coming from, the economic status. There are some social discrepancies that plays a barrier in terms of attitude. Then sometimes the right mindset, the right approach, and the ability to overcome one's weaknesses are some of the interpretations that can be worked on to help the learners grow in life. Now, the entire discussion of the paper, it moved around to understand the entrepreneurial competencies and education, and it is the need of the hour. Why? Because as faculty, we are well acknowledged with the traditional pattern, but now is the time. If we need to see India as Atmanirbhar, as independent, then we need to understand, to incorporate, technology and learning those systems in the way of teaching as well. And there should not be any, there has to be a positivity. There has to be a tremendous sense of resilience. There has to be a tremendous sense of flexibility to ensure that that we need to give back to the nation. And what is this life if we are not able to give back to our nation? So the conclusion of the study states that research is very much important because it helps the community to understand the pitfalls, the areas where we are lacking, and we need to continuously keep on revamping, reformulating, reinventing with various innovations, and also helping everyone to come out of the crisis. Because now, since the pandemic has come, it has really given us that those signals that that it is time now or never. So it is not anymore that we talk. It is now the time of actions that we need to rely on. And then if we are able to do this, definitely the themes of knowledge, skills, and attitudes can really shape up the quality of education. And of course, the current national education policy has has emphasized a lot of new strategies, new techniques, just to ensure that it is we have to take the responsibility to allow and to impart it, for our future generations as well. So that is the end of the talk. Any questions? It's always welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Perhaps a new diversion to the entire scenario. And first, I will start with your saying that you have added a mnemonic to SIAD, and perhaps it's nicely said. SIRAM leads us to all-round development. Nicely said. Perhaps we have never thought into it, so a newer thought is there, and your entire research is also provides us with the same settings, that it's a new thought in the field of education. You have nicely said that a new horizon, dawn of consciousness, which you have talked about, it has really nicely portrayed in your research. Your research, which is basically of qualitative in nature, and phenomenological study has been conducted. a nicely driven data set is there. I can better understand that because of your nicely concluding remarks. So what I can say is that with your research, that the theme and the sub theme chosen for the research is of highly knowledgeable. I can say that all the themes you talked about, knowledge, skill, and attitude, are, I think, the key ingredients of any education system in the world. Perhaps education, or if you talk about the knowledge, skill, and attitude, these three are the important component, rather the spices which make the education a complete one.
Right.
Teacher at the higher education level should harness this and should imbibe in their students all these three qualities through their teaching, so that a complete set of students with higher entrepreneurship competencies and education, together with the knowledge in them, will come out. We do expect that a research of similar type, if do conducted, and same should be implemented at the policy level, we will be harnessing a better quality of individual with higher entrepreneurship capabilities and competencies will be there in future. You have also talked about the research at the higher educational level is very much necessary and obviously is the need of our to innovate and overcome the crisis. You have talked about through your conclusion, what I can see that you have stressed much on the research at the higher education level, which perhaps can be a better outlook to the newer world. And obviously, research in true sense of the spirit research, what we mean, should be conducted so that it gives the new directions to the entrepreneurship development in the country. Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your kind words. And the research is perhaps a very, I think it's very nice, and perhaps you can lead, you can move ahead with this research further so that new parameters can be added and the new things can be added to it, and can provide us with a valuable insight into the learning. And with this, so the ma'am since want some questions, if some questions can be there, but it's a very good topic. So since ma'am has herself has asked that she's ready to answer you, please, if any one of you all want to raise some questions, please go ahead with that. We will move ahead with the second invited lecture, but before that, if you feel, you can always raise a question to ma'am. She's there to answer. Anyone?
Thank you so much.
What I can think that your speech, your entire discourse was so enlightening that I think they have spellbounded and they take some time to ask you the question. So it might be forwarded to you once they are with the questions, and perhaps you will be in the better position to answer because you are rehearsing and researching on it. So thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Doctor, yeah, thank you. So next speaker, Bishwajit Babu is Dr. Jane Gupta sir is there, or I should move ahead with another
Yes,
speaker?
sir is there.
Sir is
No,
there.
I'm there. I'm there.
Thank you very much, sir. So we have another speaker, Dr. Jane Gupta sir, is the chairman, Gurutech Education, EduTech Education and Research Foundation, Kolkata. We will be hearing from a very nice topic he has chosen for the discourse today, that impact of COVID-19 on skill ecosystem in India. Yeah, I know, sir. So Dr. Jane Gupta sir, please please go ahead with.
Thank you very much. I believe I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. First, very good afternoon to all the participants and the resource persons. Like to thank Mr. Bishwajit Raichaudhuri and my very good friend and Sairat for giving me the opportunity to speak on a topic on this particular August gathering and this task. So let me start off with the presentation without wasting much time. Is it visible? The presentation is visible?
No, sir.
Hello?
No, sir. No, it's not visible.
Okay. Bishoy sir? Hello? I don't know what is the problem is happening out here. So can I forward you the presentation to Bishojit, Mr. Rai Chaudhary, so that he can share, because I'm not getting the option properly. I don't know why. What is the problem is happening?
Yeah. I think Dr. Bishojit Ray Chaudhary is here. Dr. Chaudhary? Hello? Mr. Arindam Ray, are you here?
Hello. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Mr. Roy Chaudhary, should he send it to you so that it can be presented, or to somebody else? Please confirm him.
I don't know. I'm getting a problem because I cannot share it.
What happened, Dada? Would you like to share the screen?
Yeah, I have tried to share the screen, but it's not happening out there. I don't know. I was trying to do it.
No, you just go, first you open your PPT on your desktop. It will be better. And then go to the share screen.
That has been done.
So now you go to
I'm going through the share screen option.
Then hope you find
it is showing me Microsoft OneDrive, Google. Hello?
Yeah, what is it showing? Basic, advanced files. দেখো এরকম কিছু আছে।
I have forwarded to, can you kindly do me a little bit of help so that you can present on my behalf?
Yeah, you can also do that, but I think it will be better.
I have already forwarded you. I don't know. I'm getting a technical problem out here.
Where you have forwarded me?
In your WhatsApp. Should I mail it?
Let me check. Just let me check. Okay, fine. I got it.
I don't know what is the problem, because normally it gives no problem at all, but today I don't know why it is giving the problem.
One second. So will you share me on my mail? One second.
In your mail? Okay.
Yes.
Let me wait. Just wait for a while.
I'm just giving one mail ID there. You will just share it.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Here, just forward.
Just hold on for a sec. Yeah, I have already forwarded you the mail.
Okay.
I'm extremely sorry regarding the problem.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Just hold for a moment.
Yeah, sure.
Lalitda, thank you for your wonderful support. And also thank you, Dr. Gyanendra Shenmukta sir and Malavika ma'am for wonderfully explained about SciArt.
Now you can
Okay.
include somewhere all this.
Okay, till Professor Raichaudhuri starts off sharing the screen. Let me start off my session. I believe it will save some
You
time
will start.
also.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, fine. So my topic of presentation, I'm extremely sorry and I apologize to everyone for the technical problem which I have faced. This is the first time which is being faced. We are doing a lot of webinars. But anyway, my topic today is impact of COVID-19 on skill ecosystem in India. Now, while speaking about the skill ecosystem, let us first understand, in case of India, how the skill ecosystem is being done or is being practiced rather. Now we have got two main
Is it
players.
audible? Is the screen is visible?
No, I cannot see the screen.
I have shared it.
Yeah. Now it is coming.
Okay.
Okay, let it come. No issues. So whenever we are talking about the skill ecosystem in India and the prevailing model in India, we have got two main stakeholders. One is the government and one are the private partnerships or private players. Now, there are different ways the skill led courses are being assigned or designed to. One is the courses which are governed in the polytechnic diploma level by the DTET, Department of Technical Education of one state, governed by the AICTE. The second comes about the NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation. Third comes the NSDA, NISBAD, and other agencies, MSME or NSIC, those kind of organizations, which used to hold the key, those who are the certifying, those who are the governing partners of these kind of skill courses. And there are certain training partners who are under them. This is the second level of course. So first, entirely governed by the government in the government institute like ITIs, government ITIs, and again there are certain private ITIs are also there, government polytechnic college and private polytechnic college or private public PPP model made Polytechnic College. Third comes the NSDC skill development centers. Those centers are again of two types. One, the government parties who are partner of NSDC and doing it, or NSDC, NISBAD and those kind of organizations. Second, the private training providers who are the part and parcel of this scheme, who are the empaneled training providers of NSDC or other agencies. And the last part is the one, there are certain training providers who are again private and the government training providers who are affiliated or associated with the state skill development mission, which has started off in all the states where the respective states honorable chief ministers by default is the chairman of that particular state skill development mission. These are the four areas in which how our training operates. And talking about the courses, there are certain courses which are of 240 hours duration. Certain courses are 180 hours duration. Some courses are 520 hours duration, and some courses 720 hours duration. Talking about the short-term modular employability enhancement skills is being concerned, keeping aside the polytechnic level courses or ITI level courses. I'm talking about the mainly those one which basically caters 80% to 90% of the skill development effort of the state and the central government. And there is also another thing which has come up nowadays, is being called as BVoc, Bachelor Degree in Vocation, where the students can have a multiple entry, multiple exit model. The way it has come now within the NEPs. And being the partner of Tata Institute of Social Sciences, we are working on this BVoc from 2015-16 onwards. And this model of multiple entry and multiple exit really helps out a student. Say, for example, a student after completion of 6 months of skill development courses, he or she gets a certificate in the particular sector. Maybe say, for example, if it's a IT, you'll get a certificate in IT. Then after completion of a year's time, that means 2 semesters, he or she will get a diploma in that particular subject. After completion of second year, he or she gets the advanced diploma, and after completion of third year, he or she gets the degree. And it is as per UGC norms also. But now let us come back. This is how our system is being there. Now, how COVID-19 has impacted this system? It has impacted. It has hit it very hard, really hard. Now, if you see the first slide, which Professor Raichaudhuri has already shown, you will find out that there are certain sectors which are badly hit, certain sectors which are having low impact, but every sector has been impacted. The first one is aviation, transport, tourism, hospitality. These sectors are badly hit from this particular COVID-19 situation. There are almost 30,000 ITIs, National Skill Training Institutes, and which are still on suspension of operation. And believe me, more than 50 lakhs of candidates all throughout the India are withheld for getting the training. Next slide, please. Sir, can we go to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. Now let us come to the different challenges which, as a training provider, be it a government training provider, be it a private training provider or training partner or TPs, they have to face in this COVID-19 situation. The first and foremost challenge is the safety. Now we have already crossed the lockdown phase. Now, while formulating the strategies, we have developed the phases into 4 phases. Whenever the lockdown started off, some of the training providers like us, some of the providers like the government, some of the certifying or assessing bodies, we all sat together, and some of the companies like different audit companies like KPMGs and so on, all of us sat together to find out how can we going to take the challenge, because we all knew that it is going to hit hard, and there is going to be a severe stress on the skill ecosystem. Now, what we have found out, we have developed the challenges in the way I try my level best to consolidate them in one slide. And then as a remedy, we have thought of about 4 phases. I will come to the phases later. Let us first come to the challenges that we are facing. The first one is a safety challenge. Now, most of the vocational training is being concerned, or skill development training is being concerned. It requires more hands-on experience and less theory. You can divide in something around 30% theoretical or 40% theoretical and 60% practical or hands-on experience. Now, in a situation where we need to ensure that there will be physical distancing, I'm not using the word social distancing, it's a physical distancing, then again, how is it possible to provide the training ensuring the safety of all the participants? Second one is about the placement. Now, if you take a look at the January to March figure, I'm again talking about not talking about the Polytechnic Institute first. I'm talking about the short-term modular skill development institute, which are the 80% stakeholders to 90% stakeholder of this entire ecosystem. So there were some batches which were moving at that time. Maybe some batches which have started off, maybe some batches which are on the verge of completion. Now, what problem has happened out there? Then what about the placement? Most of the students were in the service industry, specifically talking about the West Bengal sector. Those students who are taking the skill development training, they are opting for service industry because we all are targeting the bottom of the job pyramid. These students who will be technically trained, whose skill will be developed, and then our target was to hit the bottom of the job pyramid where most of the vacancies are there. Now again, the service industry has stopped of working. Whatever planned placement strategies were there, they have devastated. So there was a problem, how to overcome that challenge. Third one is infrastructure. Now again, to give a training, maintaining physical distancing, maintaining online education system, again in the rural infrastructure, the center infrastructure, those who are in the far rural areas, is really a challenge because we do not have that infrastructure to support online. We do not have those trainers who are vastly conversed with this online system. And again, I have told you the first thing, that how can I do the practicals, the hands-on, because it is most of the hands-on training. And next come, what about the ongoing batches? When their assessment will be finished, when their certification will be given, and when their training will be allowed to start on again. There's a big question mark. Now see, these courses are 180 hours duration, 240 hours duration, 510 hours duration. That means maximum 1.5 months to 2 months to 3 months to maximum 4 to 5 months courses. Now for a 5 to 6 months courses, how and if we are in a lockdown state for 6 months, will we be able to hold the candidate back? My dear friends, my dear fellow colleagues, these candidates, they basically come, these are school or college dropout candidates. They have already been dropped out from a system. Now again, we are trying to align them in a system. This system stops. Then after 5 or 6 months, I'm quite sure 90% of the students who have enrolled will not be able to find them back, because they have for their livelihood, they may have got engaged in other options to help their family. Now spending 3 months time or 6 months time now on today's date is really troublesome for them. So the problem is that how to find out the student, how to mobilize the candidates now, because those candidates are not sitting idle at this time. So these are the problems that we are finding out in case of COVID-19 skills sector. Now, can we go to the next slide, please, sir? Thank you. Now, if we take a look at the stakeholders, I'm talking about the stakeholders. There are basically 4 types of stakeholders. One is the government. Second one is the training partners or training provider. Third one is the student itself or the participant who are taking the skill training. And fourth one, most important one, the industries, because these four work together to make this model success. Now the four pillars are already been hit. The government has been hit, the GDP is being lowered on the lower end. The assessment agencies or the governing agencies, they have been hit. Their budget is being constrained up to a certain extent. And now these courses, my dear friends, I have forgotten to tell you, the most of these courses are not self-financed. Apart from a few 10% to 15%, the remaining 80 to 85% of skill training are being sponsored by the state government or the central government agencies. Now under COVID situation, that budget has drastically been cut down a little bit. Now again, the problem is there how to fund this program. Third one is the training providers. Now the training providers face the challenge that how will they pay the rent of the training infrastructure? Most of the training providers, again I'm talking about the private training providers, they used to make this training hiring a center, hiring an infrastructure, and then developing the infrastructure out there as per the government norms, investing huge amount of money. Now for the 6 to 8 months sitting idle without a single student's mobilization, without a single government payment payout, how will they survive? And that has happened. Believe me, my dear friend, on today's date, we have reduced down our center infrastructure. I'm talking about the entire country. Up to 20 to 25% has already been lost because they are not able to pay the rent. Now see, the 80 to 90% training of the skill development is provided by these private training providers, whose 20 to 25% have already decided to shift the business, already decided to close down the center, because the one center's rent is something around minimum 10,000 to maximum 20, 30 to 40,000 per month. Now again, excluding their investment which they have done out there. Third one is the assessment agencies. If there are 50 lakh students to be assessed per year, the assessment agencies like the sector skill councils, they used to get rupees 800 to 1,200 depending on the program per candidate, and that's how they generate their funding. Now if these 50 lakh students who are still awaiting to complete their course within these 5 or 6 months and waiting their certification or examination or assessment, now this 50 lakh student into 1,200 or 800 rupees, which is supposed to be getting, supposed to be fueling those skill ecosystem controller, the sector skill council, or different bodies, certification or assessment bodies, they are now finding it difficult to run the show. And most importantly, the students, as I have told you already. So there is essential revenue loss for training partners, I already told you, and the loss is something crossing over 2,000. It is 1,218 up to third month of lockdown. Now after 6 or 7 months, it has come over 2,318 crore rupees for the training providers only. For the others, if you take all of the stakeholders together, it has already cost over 10,000 crores. This is the amount of loss that all of us, all of the partners, government partners, private partners, all of us have suffered. Next slide, please. Professor Raichu, the next slide, please. Now, so I have told you a bit negative in the first 10 or 15 minutes. So like next 15 minutes, I will tell you some positive. So because we always believe that there will be negative, there will be down phases, but there will always ups and downs at parts of life. But we have to be positive, and our positiveness, our positive attitude will guide us through the dark times, and one day we will definitely come out in the light. So every country, if you take a look at the France, UK, USA, Singapore, Philippines, Australia, America, Greece, everyone, China even. So every country has taken countermeasure, because my dear friends, my dear colleagues, coming era is the era for skill development. It is not true that there is not jobs. There are jobs. There are plenty of jobs available in the market. But the problem is happening out there is the students' expectations is not matching. Maybe say, for example, the student is thinking that after doing a 3-month course or 4-month course or 6-month course, I will get a salary of something around 50,000 rupees and I will do a white collar job. It is not like that. Second, the industries are not getting candidates who are properly being skilled. It is not only becoming graduate. It is not only becoming a polytechnic diploma holder or an engineering diploma holder. It is the requirement of skill set. Your degree or your certificate or your skill certificate even is just mere entry level qualification for the sector. Ultimately, the certificate will not speak for your work. What will speak is your work efficacy, your efficiency. That will only be possible if you are trained what industry require on that parameter. And that's what we are doing. Not only us, every country, they are taking the children, they have changed their curriculum. They are working closely with, they have generated funds, they have generated surplus fund for providing the stipend. And even in India, my dear friend, in India also we are doing it. We are increasing the LMS systems. That means we are coming out to more and more online mode of a skill training, mainly the theoretical part. The practical part, there are virtual labs which are being created by the government, as well as by the private training providers, as well as the government training providers. Now, students are being given the smartphones so that they can get connected. They cannot lose out this time. They can definitely carry out their livelihood options, but along with the livelihood, they can also carry out whatever work they were doing. The government of India has taken up this thing. Next slide, please. Professor Raichaudhuri, can you have the next slide? Fine. So, as we were talking about, that government of India, like the other countries, they have also decided to make it as a 4 phases. One is the during lockdown, second one recovery phase, third one future phase when the normalcy comes back. Now, please note that there is full stipend for 2.4 lakhs of apprenticeship or apprentices. They have already been given during the lockdown period. That is coming up to something around 36 crores by MSD, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Now again, there are some virtual classrooms which are being created. There are some e-learning modules has already been created and students are slowly getting accustomed to it. We have thought of the students won't be able to absorb this online module, but to our mere surprise, we were surprised, they are taking it. They are taking it. They are doing work in the morning. But what we have to change? We have to change our timing of the classes. We have made it the evening classes, like us, everyone others. The classes are now held in evening time. So they used to do the daily work out there and come back and then got freshened and then they join the classes. So they are carrying out their livelihood along with they are carrying out their education system. So this is how we are operating right now. We are operated in the lockdown. In the recovery phase, my dear friends, on from 21st September, there was a notification which has come that the skill training centers are going to open up slowly. And the skill training centers are nowadays being divided in different ways. As per the practical norms, there are different categorized sectors are being created, just like you all have traveled in Ola and Uber, I believe. So in the new normal situation, there is some distances from your sitting place to the driver. There's some plastic screens which are being given. The same way, the workstations are being separated for each and every student. There is one student, one machine concept which has been used, and a student's place is being confined with particular plastic sheet so that the contamination can, if happen, it should not come out of it. There is thermal gun which is being made mandatory in every training center. There is half of the capacity will be utilized. If there is in advance 50 students used to come, now as per the machine there will be 12 to 15 to 20 students who will come in every batch, so that 1:1 machine is being maintained, physical distancing can be maintained, and so that the every student, and that's how I'm talking to you, that there are multiple batches which are being allowed. Maybe morning 5 to 7 one batch, 7 to 9 one batch, or 8 to 9 one batch, or 8 to 10 one batch, then again 12 to 2 one batch, then again 4 to 6, and even 8 to 10, so that at once, if there are 100 students, we can have 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. And if I have got 20 machines, I can easily spread 1:1 way. Problem is with the teacher. Now the teachers are teaching either by virtually through the mobile, or teacher is doing the work in one machine within the same room in a confined area. All the others are watching it in their mobiles and doing it in their own machines, and all the machines are being seen out there. And the teachers, if there is any instruction is being given, the teacher is giving it from outside, or 1:1 the student is coming and watching the teacher to work, and then again going back to their workstation and doing it. This is how the thing has started off. Now again, one thing which has not been published at all by any media, which I want to tell, every government, there was a problem of migrant workers, which we all knew. Huge amount of migrant workers have come back to the states, who are the son of the soils, from different other parts of India. In West Bengal specifically, we have got around 10 to 11 lakhs or 12 lakhs of migrant workers who have come back. The same way the other states have received it. Now what we have done, I'm just giving you one case study of government of West Bengal, what they have done it. They have made a micro planning. That means planning towards the block level. Even in the block level, the migrant workers are being identified. Their working area are being identified. The database has been made, and the database has been shared to whatever particular training providers are there in those particular block level, as per their norms. Say for example, we are a training provider who gives training in agriculture. There is a training provider who is specialized in hospitality. There is another training provider who is specialized in carpentry or electrician course. So as per the student's choice or the migrant worker's previous work domain, as well as his new interests, that has been mapped. And then again, that particular database, as per the training center or their experience, is being matched over and being sent. And then again, what we have done, we have continuously for this last 4 or 5 months, 4 months onwards, we are working with the migrant workers slowly, background the screen, behind the screen, and training them. And they are getting trained. They are getting trained, so that now when they are after 3 months or so, now they are trying to make their own livelihoods possible. Their own livelihood possible. Say for example, very simple example, most of them are saying they do not want to go back again out of the state. Now how can they earn a livelihood out there? Some of them, maybe for agriculture, some of them are learning how to make ornamental fish culture. Some of them are learning how to make Kadagnath breed or poultry farming, which is that particular black chicken, which is basically originated from Chhattisgarh, is now being found commercially. Their market value is 400 to 500 rupees per kg as on today's date. Or maybe say for example duck farming, or maybe say for example medicinal plant production. So they are learning it and they are doing it in their home, or maybe 3 or 4 of them together are doing it, making a group or self-help group kind of a system, and they are learning good, they are earning good. This is how the skill development. And the same way, some of them are getting trained in the healthcare domain, and they're joining the healthcare sector. Next slide, please. So this is how the migrant workers issue is being addressed. Professor Raichaudhuri, may we go to the next slide? Next slide, please. Fine. So let us see a few sectors as an example where this COVID-19 has made new opening or has made drastic fall down. First, let us start off with the healthcare. Now, what COVID has done, it has made the requirement of huge amount of trained individuals in the healthcare sector, be it the GDAs. Now, see, I'm not talking about the nursing students. I'm talking about general duty assistant or nursing assistant. I'm not talking about the GNM. I'm not talking about the ANM. Silently, there was one course which were run by the different skill training provider that is being called as GDA, general duty assistant, or multi-purpose healthcare workers. Previously, these are the workers who are in between the IAs, and who are in between the nursing staff. So they are more trained than the IAs, but they are not allowed to give any injections. But other patient-related parameters, they are fully equipped. Previously, these particular persons are getting trouble in getting the job because they have to compete with the nursing staffs. That means they have to compete with the GNM, ANM, or BSc nursing students. And the hospitals and healthcare sectors were not ready to take them in huge amount. So who used to take them? They were used to being absorbed in the home-based healthcare companies as well as the geriatric care companies. Now, how this thing is happening? Most of the houses are now having old parents where their son and daughter are working in another city or maybe working in another country abroad. Now, this geriatric, and they have got their geriatric problems, which we all are supposed to get when we grow older. Now, we require support. This kind of medical support should be given by a trained person. Now, this is where these students used to be working, giving the home support. Or maybe, say, for example, I've been hospitalized. After discharging from the hospital, I have come back to my home. Now, I require some follow-up treatment. I require some nursing care. I cannot afford the nurse. I can also not depend on an ayah who doesn't have the medical knowledge. So I'm looking for someone who will have medical knowledge and whose expense will not also be more high. So my health will be managed. My medical parameters will be regulated and monitored, as well as I will get at a lesser cost. And where the home-based healthcare companies like Apollo, like Portia, these have come out, and most of the students have been getting absorbed out there. But again, this COVID situation has made all of the training providers have not a single candidate who is left to be placed as on today's date. Even those candidates who have not given their assessment, who have finished their course but awaiting assessment, have joined in different hospitals and nursing homes and even in government sectors. And now this sector, the students want to get trained more and more in these sectors because they know that coming years to come, this sector is going to be booming out. At the same time, the telecom sector, it has now previously started off going in the downward trend, but whenever the online classes have started off, whenever you and my kid, whenever you and me need to carry out an official meeting, need to require a more sophisticated mobile or an electronic item or even a Wi-Fi system. So this sector is coming up. The same way, the sector which has first suffered and then coming up is the automobile sector. Next slide, please. Professor Raichaudhuri, can we go to the next slide? Thank you. So the automobile sector has first suffered a huge blow. Then slowly, whenever the unlocking phase has started off, it has changed the scenario. Now, what I feel that if I can afford a bike, I have seen what is happening in the public transport. The public transport are not available like the previous way they were available. Now, how will I go to my workplace? I have to go to my workplace. I have to maintain my safety, my health and hygiene parameters. Now, if I can do it, I can avoid the public transport. So the people have started buying their own transport. And again, there came the banking and financial institutions role. They have tried of giving the minimum input and getting the product back at home and giving the maximum amount on loan, the consumer durables loans. The same thing has happened in the automobile sector. You have to down payment of 800 rupees to 1000 rupees or 2000 rupees, and you can get back your motorcycle, and the remaining amount you can pay it slowly in installment with a minimum amount of interest also. The customer base has boomed up. Now we are waiting. We are in the waiting, or we are in the queue to receive a bike or to receive a car as per the capacity, as per the pocket permits. The people started buying this particular own vehicle so that they can carry out a safe journey. The same thing has happened for the textile and garment sector also. Previously, Madam was talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. Definitely, we are now started preparing the masks, the gloves, the other PPEs, and try to recall, my dear friends, when it was March, what was the price of our N95 masks? It was something around 400, 500. Now it has drastically come down to 55 rupees to 60 rupees. What was the price of a surgical mask? It was sold at a price of 20 rupees, 30 rupees, or 40 rupees. It has come down to rupees 5 or 2 or even 1 only, due to the local production which has started kicking off. Now, who are doing this production? I will come to it. Next slide, please. Professor Raichaudhuri, may I go to the next slide? May I go to the next slide, please? Sir, can we go to the next slide?
Yes, it's not moving.
It's not moving. Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Anyway, 1 second. Let me try.
Sure.
Is this?
Yeah. Can you skip it? Can you skip it, please? I believe I have taken more time, so I have to finish off.
This one?
Please skip off. Skip. I will just finish up with skip, please. Next one. First, please. So as I was talking to you, that how these skill development students have contributed. Now there is a company which is called as ATDC, which is a famous training provider for apparel and textile. They are making the mask. Who are making the mask? The students. The agriculture support, I'm giving my company's reference. Our students and all the other training providers who are working in the agriculture sector, they are from March onwards till date, along with us, we are going and visiting the farmers, giving our advisory services open so that we can support them. Healthcare support, as I've already told you, those who are working in the healthcare sector, the students, they are working as the corona warriors. Now say for example, the ITIS, NTTF, they have developed automatic sanitizer dispenser machine. Previously, the machines were costing something around 10,000, 12,000 or 14,000 or even 30,000 rupees. Now this has come down or brought down to 5,000, 2,000 or even 3,000 rupees per piece. Now this is where the skill development, this is where the Atmanirbhar concept comes up. This is where the skill development system helps the country in fueling. Before finishing up, I like to say a few, I'd like to quote the Honorable UN Secretary General what he has told. We are in this together and we will get through this together definitely. With this note, I am completing my presentation. I'm extremely sorry that I've taken maybe a little bit of more time due to some technical glitches. So that I will expect, if you want to ask any question, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you, Dr. Jain Sengupta. It was probably the most illuminating experience we ever having, and you have share your working experience with this with all of us, and you have nicely sell us to the challenges due to COVID-19 in the various skill sector that India has at least witnessed. India has witnessed obviously, and what challenges are there relating to safety, placement, infrastructure. These are the basic challenges the India is facing right now. So far, the training providers are concerned. And obviously, this your questions regarding what about the outgoing batches, their training, assessment, and certification. This was really a great problem India is facing right now. And until and unless the new normal situation, that means we move on to the new normal, this entire this system will entirely not going to normalize, because this backlogs will be there. And obviously, you have nicely sell us to the phase-wise roadmap for the recovery of COVID-19. And you have all, though we have moved from negative to positive. A lot many slides were there for the negative, but obviously you have, as we know, there is always a single silver lining in the sky when there is thundering and storms are there. So there are silver lining, and you have already showed and nicely with the migrant workers and all, you have already shown very nicely features were there. You have already showed us the different sectors, their contributions and their job creation potentials, right from health work, healthcare, telecom, BFSIs, construction, real estate, transport, logistics, and many more. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Sengupta, for giving us a nice discourse on the topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
And now we have the last speaker, last but not the least, who will be speaking on redesign of professional success. By he is Mr. Shrikant Kumar Sahu from Orissa, India. I request Mr. Shrikant Kumar Sahu to kindly take over the session. Am I audible, Mr. Shrikant Kumar Sahu? Are you here? Hello. I can see Mr. Shawi is here. Perhaps he cannot hear us.
Kumar Sahu, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, he is muted.
Unmute yourself. You on your video and
please wait a minute.
Yes, yes. Would you like to share?
Please wait just 2 seconds, sir.
Would you like to share your screen? Dr. Sengupta, thank you very much for your wonderful lecture and also for sharing your views on Indian entrepreneurship. And I also like to thank Dr. Rania Lampao. She is a quite dynamic person in academia also, as well as she is working on lots of projects international.
Yes, I'm ready now. Only 2 seconds, sir, please.
Dr. Rania Lampao, are you here? Dr. Lampao, are you here? Okay. Lolita, how would you feel through this webinar? Already we got the very feedback.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm in here more than 3 hours. Perhaps this is, I have enjoyed every moment of this and gaining experience. So it is undoubtedly a very good experience for me here.
Thank you, thank you. And all the speakers
mind
have
topic क्या कहाँ
delivered
पे लगे?
lecture on versatile topics. Mr. Shahu, will you start your presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
So please
Am I
continue.
audible?
Please continue saying within 10 minutes.
Yes. One greatest thing that we are very lucky that we could watch such a valuable lecture, valuable discussion, and paradigm shift. And my topic was how. First of all, I will greet and thank you, the SIAD, the distinguished organizers, and distinguished speakers. I learned a lot from here, and my topic was redesign of professional success. Everybody has started speaking everything, and very importantly, you know that the professional success can be developed. One of them is Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliance. One thing I will tell, I'm teaching in degree classes, reading. A student said, I got 90%. A student said, I got 99%, sir. I said, have you made any bottom of any shirt? A paper, the white paper on which you wrote? This is motivation. Most importantly, sir, people's mind should be ignited for professional success, for education. And well said by many speakers before me, that entrepreneurs, the new generations in India should come out. And most importantly, India wants jobs creators, but at the same time, we first of all train our Indian minds for special counseling. That is the first point for attitudinal change. Counseling is needed because the wrong attitudinal or behavioral posture, the thought pattern in the student's mind, that the government should take everything and do everything for them. They don't come out to stand on their own legs. I'm worried, sir. Actually, I'm not ready. Actually, that you will invite me. So, in order to be professionally successful, first of all, sir, hard work. But in Indian attitude, to some extent, the religiosity in them, that God will do everything for them. God will do everything for them. That we should understand, we should motivate the students that thoughts can make things. That is the secret of life. We can imagine Einstein saw the apple drop. Why? That is the question that we can develop. And I have to tell a lot of things and points, but with this, I would like to say, education is no doubt vital. At India, it is for the first time that there is a paradigm shift, a newness, and the newness can begin only with special counseling that will reach to every student by almost all the universities throughout India, if India has to improvise. Otherwise, our students, entrepreneurs will depend on the governments to do something. and they will not be ignited to start this much, sir. Thank you, Syed. Thank you, Syed, and the speakers.
Thank you, Mr. Shrikant Kumar Sahu. You have propelled into the counseling for a necessity for propelling a change in the attitude of an individual so that they can be diverted and the right attitude can be developed so that they can develop own entrepreneurial skill and abilities. But I must say, uh, just not criticizing, but to add to you, hard work is undoubtedly a key to success, and we Indians has proved this in many frontiers across the globe. Indians are there in each and every field where they have proven to be, success in every attire, be it a scientist, be it a doctor, be it an engineer, be it a technocrats, everywhere Indians are there. Yeah, you might say the percentage might be less, but we do also have proved that in this situation of COVID-19, where the entire economies of the world were questioned, India has come out to be a larger success. Though in the larger phase of lockdown, you could have seen the technology has driven technology has driven in the entire phase. I have already reiterated, but I must say that we have seen the startup across the country, especially in Karnataka and many more places where you see local to global is also the concept which we have developed. Thank you very much, Mr. Shahu, for your kind words. With this, I must say that this is a time for 130
Sir, I would
crores
like to
Indian.
thank you very much. But you rightly said about the percentage, sir. Lakhs of graduates are produced and they are unemployed. That's the reason of what I'm saying. Otherwise, India has brain drain.
No, you are absolutely correct. But there were a problem with our systems. There were a problem with our systems, and you have also said that attitudinal change
Yes, sir.
and
You're right.
the attitudinal change has to be brought in, and that is what the attitudinal change that is the counseling is required. I have appreciated your words that these two things must be there to bring about a sea change in the individual's far-sightedness. Thank you very much. So with this, I can say that this is a time for 130 crore Indians to showcase the country's collective resolve to overcome the setbacks caused by pandemic. We need to forge ahead by harnessing India's human resource and technological capabilities to remain globally competitive. With a well-assured future, we need to focus on three things: skills, scale, and speed. India has the potential to emerge as a global hub for providing skilled manpower to other nations. We can prove to the world that the 21st century belongs to India through self-belief, dedication, and discipline. Thank you very much. Now over to Mr. Arindam Ray, Program Director, SIAD, for the vote of thanks. Mr. Arindam Ray.
Excuse me.
I hope Mrs. Kajurika Sengupta is here, Executive Officer
Yes.
SIAD, isn't it? Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
Over to you.
Yes.
Over to you. Over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, I want to share. Good afternoon, first of all, to all our delegates and resource persons. I want to share my sincere gratitude to all our delegates, and I am really thankful to all the resource persons. I want to thank.
Kajri, please unmute yourself.
Oh, okay. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. I want to share my sincere gratitude to all our delegates, and I am really grateful to all the resource persons. I want to thank Dr. Lalit Kumar Joshi, sir of Kaji Nazrul University, to chair today's session, and your elaborate description and discussion, which enlightened us. And how did you manage and summarize each session is beyond imagination. Thank you, sir. Hope to get you with us in all our every journey. Next. Next speaker, next special lecture was given by Mr. Shishir Vajoria, Chairman IIM Shillong, sir. He talked about how Corona influenced our lives and how educational system and how to overcome this, and working population and how it can change the scenario of students' education. Next invited session was given by Dr. Shunil Kumar Somali, Honorable VC of Medicaps University, talked about the role of university in fostering and promoting a need of to promote in Indian industries and how to start up industries, and how does the NEP 2020 influence the job creation, value creation, about female entrepreneurship, and how normal system the business education after Corona era. It is a paradigm shift from traditional education to modern educational system, and how does it important to Indian perspective. Next speaker was by Ramia Lapchu from the Ministry of Education and Religious Affairs, Government of Greece. She enlightened us about reimagination and entrepreneurship in the post-COVID-19 era, a Greek approach. She highlighted how did COVID-19 influence the livelihood on Greece, which is equally true in our country also. Moreover, she talked about 5 pillars of resistance, paradigm shift in education. She talked about some successful business even during COVID era, how to teach entrepreneurship of students, etc. Thank you, madam, for such an elaborate discussion. Another eminent speaker of today's session was Dr. Shivaji Banerjee of St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, talked about redefining higher education in the new normal scenario, innovation, entrepreneurship, and he enlightened us about how education is creating new era of creating entrepreneurship oriented education. How does new innovation, startup, infrastructure, all are creating new entrepreneurship among the new generation. He also discussed about NEP 2020, influence of innovation, and how does the new era on education, that is both online and offline mode, has changed during this post-COVID-19 era. Next speaker was Dr. Malubika Raut, MIT University, talked about the new horizon, entrepreneur competency, skills, attitudes in search of new skills, which new industries are demanding in the path of creating new entrepreneurship among the students. It's about the new encouragement and new path can enlighten the inner spirit of the learners so that they can opt new desire and their desired jobs. She discussed about the importance of research in creating new era of education. Next speaker was Dr. Shengupta sir. 1 second. Yes, the J.N. Sengupta sir, Chairman, Gurukul Educational Institution Research Foundation, Kolkata. He talked about impact of COVID-19 on scale-up ecosystem in India. In this discussion, he emphasized on the economic crisis during COVID-19 period, how different countries react and how skill development become important during this period all over the globe. According to him, as for student interest, syllabus and courses must be designed so that they can trained in such a manner that they can get good jobs as per their desire. He discussed their elaborate case studies. Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your views, and we are really grateful to have you with us. Last but not the least, speaker of today's session is Dr. Srikant Kumar Shahu of Orissa, who talked about redesign and professional success, talked about the skill development to combat this situation. Thank you, dear participants and all the research persons in today's session. And I want to thank all the members of Team SIRT, without whom today's session will not be possible. Thank you each and everyone who helped us in our journey. Thank you all. Over to you, Roy Chaudhary, Mr. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Joshi, sir.
Dr. Roy Chaudhary, you have got something to say?
So,
would you like to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to thanks once again to all the resource persons, our team members, our participants, and especially Dr. Lalit Kumar Joshi from Assistant Professor from Kazi Nazrul University for holding this chair and holding this kind of responsibility continuously with lots of patience. I just see, and every lecture he had explained in her own way, and definitely it's a very good commendable job, sir. I am really thankful to you for wholeheartedly. And also thanks to all the resource persons once again for delivering your views on different aspects of education and entrepreneurship. So I would like to share some news to you that on behalf of SciEd, we have already got a recognition of a university like Vidyasagar University in West Bengal, and they have supported us for doing some skill-based courses, entrepreneurship-based courses, which ultimately will support for our young entrepreneurs. Even the faculties can also be learned through these courses, because these courses are very flexible at your time, because it will happen on evening session. So everybody can join. And we will also connect with the different international bodies. So there are different faculties will come, and continuously we have done lots of activities. If you go in our Facebook page or otherwise in our website, you may find lots of activities continuously we have advertised. So you may join with us. Even in October, we are also going to focus on a research methodology workshop related to the SPSS statistical software application. So if you want, then you can also join. And on the October 17th and 18th, we are focusing on that particular issue, that is the paradigm shift in education through which previously yesterday, Professor Amar Garg from Honorable Vice Chancellor of Soviet University has joined as a session chair, and we talked to him regarding a conference, webinar with where 30 to 40 vice chancellors of different universities will join regarding the national education policy framework and their critical analysis of national education policy. And we will associate with the MHRD and Minister of Education right now, and we will submit our proposal to the Minister of Education for how we can proceed in that way. So with this, I also thanks to all of you, and also welcome in our coming webinars, programs, and that's all. So once again, I would like to give special thanks to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roy Choudhury, for your nice discourse, and thank you for thank you for inviting us to this wonderful webinar. From my side, I can vouch that I really enjoyed the entire discourse of the day. And with this, being the chairman of the session, I declare the session to be closed. Thank you.
Thank you.